Welcome, everyone, to the Four Post Massacre Podcast. I am your host. Of course, you can simply call me Zaya. With me, as always, is none other than the pot father himself, Mr. Adam Jackpot.
Hey, howdy ho.
And today we've got a very special guest with us here tonight. He is the owner of the AWF and one of the main lead voices and factors of the Call All-Stars as a whole. He is none other than Mr. Shawn Walsh.
It's a pleasure to be here. This is going to be fun. We're going to talk about the good and the ugly of wrestling this week.
Oh, and there has been some ugly in terms of pro wrestling this week, which we will get into in our news segment. It's not a fun time, to say the very least.
But the original podfather of this little call wrestling community. Now he gets to be a guest on a podcast. Look at you. We get to make you talk now. Uh-huh.
It's good. I don't gotta come up with things. It's great.
Normally we don't come up with I don't even come up with half of this shit until like 30 minutes into the show.
Because I do all the work.
Okay. Alright. You didn't even let him know what his segment was going to be until I hit the record button.
I can't let him know what his own segment's going to be.
Left it a surprise.
Exactly.
That's what the mystery box segment is for.
It's just like how, you complained that one fall in a tables match, that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
You fall through the table.
You have to put your opponent through the table. It's not
by
one
making
fall.
Them fall through
That's
it.
not even true. I'm not
physics, man.
No, I'm not doing this. We're going right into it. We're gonna start off with none other than our AEW Dynamite Review.
Dynamite. Yeah, Cody Rhodes. Dusty's my dad. Dynamite.
So, this AEW Dynamite took place on a special Saturday night, which was back at its original time slot around it was 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST.
I was happy. It was 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
It felt right again. At least for as good as a Saturday could be.
Yeah. These late... I know a lot of people have not been happy about the Friday night Dynamites, and I'm one of them. But at least this was on at 8, It didn't feel like, oh my god, it's midnight now when the show ends, so...
I don't know if there's been ratings released yet for what, Saturday did. But, for many accounts, I think Saturday... I hope there's something they can do from now until Rampage finally debuting in August where they can get a Saturday time slot. I feel like Saturday, it feels better. Wrestling fans are accustomed to weekends having wrestling for how many years at this point. They don't have to worry about the whole lead-in from SmackDown. Find a way, if the Saturday numbers do good, because I do remember the last time they did that 1-hour Saturday special. It did pretty well, and that was on at midnight.
Yeah.
So, I think move to Saturday, that's your meal ticket.
So, we start off the show, before we actually start off the show, we get Alex Marvez in the parking lot. He's about to interview Sammy Guevara, when all of a sudden, bam! Attacked out of nowhere with the steel chair.
It's Shawn Spears. It's the chairman. The Canadian God's here. This man's the greatest thing ever. The Dynamite started off, and Shawn Spears was on my TV. 10 out of 10 show. Already best show of the year. Fuck Sammy Guevara. Shawn Spears.
Why is Alex Marvez always conveniently in the right locations? Oh, I'm looking for Sammy Guevara. Oh, here he is.
He's everywhere.
He's our modern-day Michael Cole of the Attitude Era. He's just, there he is. There's Alex Marvez. How did he get here? There he is.
Someone needs to look into him. What's his deal? He knows something.
He's got an app that's just constantly tracking where all the AEW wrestlers are. It's Sammy's gonna be in the parking lot in 5 minutes. All right, I gotta get over there. Okay, I'm here now. He finds them at the schools. He finds him at the clubs. And he's always in the same dress. This man's kind of... I'm getting fit. Are there multiple Alex Marvezes? Are there clones?
Maybe.
Oh, God. Please don't let this be...
I think the Elite were right about him months ago.
What is...
This guy... He's all over the place. He's in everyone's business. He needs to leave people alone.
He's a creepy...
Maybe that's why Sammy wouldn't have been jumped if there was no Alex Marvez.
That's very true.
I mean, Alex Marvez also could have told Sammy, hey, watch out.
Like, look, hey, man, there's probably someone behind you with a chair right now. You probably duck. I don't know. That's on you.
I mean, yeah. So, right off the bat, Sammy Guevara smacked, walloped with a chair by the chairman. And, yeah. That's how we start. And then right into our first opening contest.
Yeah, which is Hangman Page taking on Powerhouse Hobbs in our opening contest. I thought this was pretty good. I thought this is a really good showing for Hobbs. Like, probably the best he's looked since his match with Cage for the FTW World Championship. Nothing too crazy really happens in this match. It's very much them working the crowd. Hobbs pretty much overpowers Page for a good majority of the match. He really heavily works over the arm of Page, knowing that Page has the buckshot lariat, so he continuously works over the arm, hits it across the steel post a few times. Page at one point starts to fight back. He hits a nice plancha onto Hobbs at one point. A nice Orahara moonsault from the top rope for a 2 count. Fucking Hobbs, though, like, when he, like, comes, like, after, like, some people just, like, when they do, like, a crossbody or something, they just kind of, like, jump at you. Fucking Hobbs just runs you over. Like, he just uses his entire body and he just runs over Page at one point. And it looked disgusting. Near the end of this match, though, Hobbs seems to be in control, but who should come out but none other than Ricky Starks? Who?
And Hook.
Yeah, and Hook.
Oh, and don't forget, we had a Hook sight-in.
Hook's there. Hook is here.
Hook is in full effect right now.
And so I was very confused by this ending, to be honest.
What do you mean?
I know what they're like, what's going on, but it's like, one, how did Ricky have the title? Why doesn't Brian Cage have better control of his title? And I don't know. I don't know.
Think about this. How did Brian Cage get the title? Taz gave it to him, right? So
yeah, but like
it's a Team Taz property.
So, yeah, you know, he's going to give Hobbs the title, the FTW title, and then here comes Brian Cage. He's pissed off. Starts stripping down Ricky Starks.
As you do.
As you do. And you know, typical distraction finish, but not, like, roll up or anything stupid like that, the W. Just, Powerhouse is very, like, taken back, and we're setting up for a Deadeye. Oh, first a rolling elbow, which was really nice.
Yeah, he hit a rolling elbow. Hobbs would catch him with the rolling elbow of his own. Hobbs would then try to go for a crossbody. Cage ducks, hits a deadlift German suplex, and then the Deadeye for the victory. So, again, more dissension for Team Taz.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, I really like, this is an AEW thing, because you're so used to WWE, but, like, if this was WWE, after the distraction, Hobbs would have gotten hit with the buckshot or would have gotten rolled up, and it would be over. I like that they kept things going, hit that mean spine buster, and then also Brian Cage needs to stop disrespecting Team Taz. They're out here trying to help their pal. You know, Hook's out there. He's got the guns. He's got the title. And Brian Cage keeps costing his friends matches. I think Taz is going to have to make a decision.
I think
the decision's going to have to be that Brian Cage needs to take a walk.
Yeah, he needs to.
Yeah. It's time to, you know, for him to take a walk, and maybe for Team Taz to get that FTW World title on someone who understands what FTW really means.
Hook.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I like how we all thought the same thing. After this match, though, we get a quick little recap of what they showed on their Road 2 episode featuring the Jungle Boy versus Kenny Omega thing on YouTube, which, if you did not check out before you watch this match, I strongly suggest you do. It's very well put together. Did a very good job putting over this whole championship match and Jungle Boy as a potential challenger for Omega. So I really like that. But after that, we get a segment a little different from all the other Pinnacle and Inner Circle things. We get an in-ring segment between Conan and Tully Blanchard.
This was weird. It started on, I don't know. This was good, but also when I don't know, and Tully and Conan just being able to have free mics, and Conan starts going off on a whole different tangent, and Tully's still good, but he screams too much and he starts to trip himself. But it all culminated well. I was actually duped when the swerve came.
You were duped?
For a second, I was like, "Oh, they got that face paint. They're coming to fight." And I'm
you
like,
didn't
"Oh, wait."
notice their obviously white as hell hands?
Yeah, right.
Poking out of
I
their
wasn't
hoodie.
looking at their hands. I was looking at their faces. Is what they wanted me to do.
I could tell by their body movement it was not Santana and Ortiz. And then I'm like, they're like, "Oh, here comes Santana and Ortiz." No, it's two white guys. And I was like, "Oh, that is definitely FTR," and sure enough, it was.
Well,
and then they
got me.
Conan.
But yeah, Conan's out here talking. Conan with a very good line, telling Tully that he's got to start learning Spanish before his grandkids arrive. That was really fun.
Conan's the man.
Tully just yelling, "Angry man at Cloud," pretty much in this whole segment. Nothing really to talk about with Tully and Conan besides them just going at it with each other. The whole segment is the assault.
Were you guys shocked that Conan took that bump?
Oh, I was a little bit. I'm not as surprised anymore after with the Dean Malenko taking the bump he did and everything. I'm taking a good guess that these guys are at least practicing this shit beforehand.
Cause do you guys remember when in TNA, in Impact, they did the LAX and OG story, and Conan was in the Bound for Glory match, but they did the angle and he showed up at the end and didn't take any bumps. So yeah. I thought for sure he wouldn't take any bumps, but he took a pile driver.
Speaking of LAX, marked out to hear LAX theme.
Oh my
AEW.
God, that was great.
What the hell? Was not expecting that.
My favorite part of this Impact and AEW partnership is that they can just use Impact music, Impact footage whenever they want.
It's the best. I'm so happy. Impact's Chads keep winning.
Yeah, I thought this was a very good promo, very effective to build up the eventual match between FTR and Santana and Ortiz.
I was just happy to have a Pinnacle Inner Circle segment that didn't feel redundant for once.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This did feel there was still a brawl at the end when they decided to beat the shit out of Conan, but at least it wasn't just promo, giant brawl, go to commercial. At least there was okay, cool, it's Tully and Conan talking, different people. Oh, cool, look, little swerve, knockout backstage. Oh shit, we just fucked up Conan. Cool with me. Perfectly fine. Because, later on that doesn't happen.
It's good that, the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle are still feuding, but it's not all together now. It's their individual feuds. So I think it's helped because I don't know how you guys feel, but I was thinking after the Double or Nothing. I was like, what more can you do? This feud needs to end. But this gives it some life to probably All Out at least.
I'm happy at least with okay, now I guess we're getting the singles aspects of the feuds, and so we just did Jake and Wardlow. That's done now. We're getting Sammy and MJF. Eventually we're gonna probably get Sammy and Shawn.
Yeah.
But alright, I'll take this for now. But then again, later on in the show, when we get there, it's the same old stuff again.
Kinda. I kinda liked it, but we'll get to it. After that, we have Matt Sydal taking on Dante Martin.
What the hell was up at the beginning of this match?
So, before the match begins, Dante comes out, and before Matt comes out, who should come out but, excuse me! Vicky Guerrero coming out, blessing all of our eardrums with that signature line. I guess she was here to make an announcement with Andrade.
This was the announcement that he had stated last week that they were going to make. But she never gets around to it because Matt Sydal cuts her off.
Why
That's it, bye.
Why did she think that coming out during the entrances was the best time?
Mid-entrance. Let me come out not after or before the entrances start. Let me come out in between entrances. That works. That's a smart idea.
And so
the same woman who was late for her cue at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was Vicky?
So Vicky comes out, Andrade comes out next. Again, it's mid-entrance. They're trying to make an announcement, but of course, Matt Sydal is like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Leave.
No way. What is it? We're live.
We're live, pal. And so they leave. They go away for...
That's it.
Yeah, that's all of it.
That's it. I was like, oh, okay, so Sydal wins. Spoiler, he wins. All right, here comes Andrade. He's going to attack him afterwards. Or stare it out. Or something. Nope. That's it. Bye.
No.
Why? I mean, I get the setup. We're going to set up probably Sydal being Andrade's first match, which is going to be a good match, but this was not the way I go away around it. What was this?
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I would have had something post-match. I mean, it seems that's the direction they're going in, which is cool, but, then it's just like, you guys just not going to make your announcement. Why didn't Vicky come out between everyone else's entrance then?
They look stupid. They look stupid. It's like, why are you here right now? Why you dummies? Yeah.
What do you guys think the announcement is going to be?
I think it's Zelina. Or Thea.
I hope.
He thinks it's Thea. I hope, because I
think this Vicky thing is just a big red herring. She's like, this is the perfect person to be like the introduction, but she's not going to be the one that's sticking around. I really hope that the announcement isn't something stupid like, on blah blah blah, Andrade has his first match. Please don't let that.
We're gonna have Omega versus Andrade at Triple Mix. Vicky, we already announced that.
It has to be either. It has to be either it's Thea or maybe it's another AAA person coming in. But I can't think of anything else besides that.
Yeah, I hope so, because I don't really dig the Andrade and Vicky pairing, so if they can get Thea, then great. I mean, she's literally the perfect person for him.
So after that whole thing, we finally get to the match.
Good match.
This was on heels of apparently they had a dark match a few weeks ago that was very, very good. So they decided to put the match on TV. And surprise, surprise, they have a really good match on TV. This was just basically a Dante Martin highlight reel. He did a lot of cool shit in this match. He did a middle rope springboard drop kick. He did a cool-ass flip stunner. A double jump fucking moonsault senton. Shades of fucking Marufuji. And probably one of the best sunset flips you will ever see. He had
hang time on a sunset flip. And like that, wow. And again, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 19-year-old of the two brothers.
Yeah.
Is he?
Is he the 19-year-old or the 21-year-old? Either way, still like what the fuck, crazy ages.
I think he is the younger one.
Okay.
Like the athleticism that this kid has. I mean, just you can think where him and his brother eventually, even if they become singles guys, where they could be in a few years from now, is incredible. And that's the AEW thing that they love, is the youth. This episode was all about youth.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Top to bottom. Showcasing, you know, Dante might not have won here tonight, but he came out looking bigger than when he showed up. And again, I stick to what I say every week we do this, and I talk about it. AEW does not pretty much, oh, your brother's hurt, you're in a tag team, you're on the sidelines. You're always used. Everyone gets a chance to do something. Even if you're a tag team guy and your partner isn't around, you're going to be doing something. I mean, his brother's out with an ACL injury, I believe. He's gone for a while. And they're still going to use the kid. And that's what a great company is. Utilize your talent. Don't just let them sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, 100%. It's I don't like when other companies do that. If a guy is talented, find something for him, and then who knows what you got, because, you know, maybe someday you do break up the team, and then you have an idea of what you can do with them.
They're also established at that point, too. It's not like, break up a tag team, all right, now we have to establish two guys as singles people. No, already people know that this guy can go as a singles guy. This match was very good.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more of it. Eventually, like, you know, maybe Dante gets the big win over Sydal. Like, maybe a month or two down the line, they do this again on Dynamite.
That, or for their Rampage show that they're going to be doing, that could be a big featured match there.
And also big fan of how Matt Sydal's run has been so far.
So
he's done very well.
Yeah. So
great to see him back.
So near the end of the match, Sydal hits fantastic Meteora for a count of two. Like, there were some close-ass near falls in this match.
Yeah, no, they gave this kid a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, Dante hits that sick front flip stunner. He eventually goes to the top rope. Looks like he's trying to go for a double foot stomp. Misses. Kind of lands questionably on his heel. Matt Sydal would then hit the question mark kick and then the lightning spiral, which is basically the page turner. For a 3 count, Matt Sydal gets the victory. Yeah, really good match. Hopefully that Andrade thing has a payoff. This leads to a whole thing with Sydal. Because I think a program between Sydal and Andrade, and especially that being Andrade's first, program in AEW, would do him a lot of good considering how great of a worker Matt Sydal is.
I think Sydal's style can match up with Andrade very well. Matt is fast, but he's not too fast. He knows how to pace himself. He's actually also a very good technical wrestler that he's been in his later years, as we've seen. I think him and Andrade could do some really great work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sydal is not a guy that, if he takes a loss, it's not going to do anything. It's that's what Sydal is right now, and that's a big name for Andrade to be on the level where he is now. That is oh wow, he beat Matt Sydal. Matt Sydal is an accomplished wrestler at this point. It's something, and the match should be great.
Yeah, it should be an excellent match, and then we get JR struggling to pronounce Andrade's name. So.
Yeah, wonderful.
Andre
Igloo. El Dorado.
Iguana? Is that it?
It's Andre the Giant.
After that, we get a backstage segment with Jungle Boy and Christian.
It's Christian.
Jungle Boy is pretty much saying he's ready for his match. Christian comes up behind him. Says, "You feeling good? You feeling nervous?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm feeling good." He's like, "You shouldn't feel good. You should save that feeling for after you win the belt." You already shocked the world when you won the Casino Battle Royal. Go shock them again and, win the belt. Just basic promo here, but
yeah, basic legend to the young kid. It's your time to shine.
yeah.
Whatever has happened past Double or Nothing to where we are now should have been what Christian should have been from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first, introduction and everything kind of felt weird. The whole Outwork Everything gimmick really kind of fell flat. Like, this is what he should have always been. Mentoring to the young guys and slowly building to that Kenny Omega match. This is what Christian should be doing.
I've noticed with AEW, and this isn't the case for everyone, but sometimes they haven't really perfected the art of debuting someone, and it usually takes them a little bit of time to figure out where someone needs to be. Like, Miro had a rough debut, but they figured it out, and Matt, and then he figured it out. So Christian was the same case. So I've noticed they kind of, I guess it makes sense. They bring someone in and there's like, oh, well, we'll try this. And then they figure out, oh, no, this works much better. So
yeah, again, I love the fact that they are aware enough that if something's not working, we're going to fix it right away so that it doesn't leave a bad taste. We're always listening. We're always changing. They're not like, this is what it is, and this is what we're going with, and no one's going to fucking stop us. It's like, no, okay, this isn't working. We figured it out. Oh, this works better. The crowd reacts better to this. All right, this is where we're going to head with it, no matter what. Instant change, slow transition. It's wrestling. God.
After that, we get a quick little advertisement from Smart Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill.
What the hell is going on? What is happening? Why can't this woman wrestle? She's good. Why? What? Now they're selling, what is it, magazines or some shit?
I thought they were selling a shirt. They were selling a shirt.
Oh, they're selling merchandise. They're doing DX 2009 promos. Oh, buy my t-shirt by using this fake code.
Well, I don't know.
She's that bitch. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, woo. I hear people say bitch all the time on the other channel, and so that doesn't matter anymore to me. Everyone's that bitch.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I like Mark Sterling and all that, but they got to get her wrestling more, even for squash matches, because she looks very good in them. So
she doesn't even, I would have thought, okay, elevation, cool, that's awesome. She doesn't even do darker elevation matches. They're not, using her anywhere. I make sure to look at these dark and elevation cards, because sometimes there's, an indie guy that I'm really excited that's gonna be on. Zicky Dice was on and shit. That was cool. Mm-hmm. But, I'm not watching all these shows, but I never see her name, and she's one of the people I thought I would have seen a lot of so that she gets more in-ring experience. She's not terrible. She's still green to an extent of, she's a little stiff and she's got to get her moves worked out. But she knows her camera work. She's got her character down pat well. And she's got, the muscle. Why aren't we giving her more matches on these dark shows and then building up to a cool Dynamite, match? I was cool with the Mark Sterling, pairing. I get it. But, these vignettes every week are so... What are we doing? Oh, she's bought a hotel. We're selling t-shirts. Well, what? Mark Sterling being oh, I'll give you all the money for every match you win that you haven't had.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe it'll lead to her getting mad and telling him to go away, which would be kind of pointless since they put them together. But maybe she hasn't been wrestling on darker elevation. Maybe she's just in the Nightmare Factory, and they just don't want her to expose herself yet. Maybe that's why she's been so limited so far, but, I mean, hey, it's the best way to get experience, so I would have her on darker elevation every week.
Yeah.
Even, put her on commentary. Just expose her more. Instead of these, 10-second vignettes where Mark Sterling talks, and then she's that bitch.
She's got...
Cool.
She's got really good presence. She's got really good presence.
But we're not doing anything with it.
Exactly. You could literally have her do anything, and it would be good for her, because
you you go back to what Shawn said about, they haven't perfected debuts. Her debut was great. And they haven't accomplished anything since the Shaq match. It's like they reversed this. It's like they went in reverse order. They're like, shit. We peaked. Now what?
Well, I guess we will find out in time. But during that, you can go to the AEWshop.com, enter in that B, get 10% off of your Jade Cargill shirt.
Hell yeah.
Because she is that bitch. After that...
A good shirt.
Wow.
After that, we get Pinnacle.
Well, yeah.
We get Pinnacle and Inner Circle stuff.
We get an MJF promo that has Wardlow and was it Shawn Spears in the background?
Of course, it's fucking Shawn Spears twice in one night. Oh yeah.
So MJF pretty much goes on the mic and says, "I can understand why you guys could be upset about what happened in that MMA cage fight. I can understand why you guys are upset after what I did to Chris Jericho. But for the life of me, I cannot understand why you guys would be upset after what I did to Dean Malenko." Brings up that Dean Malenko is 60 years old with Parkinson's disease, and said that I did what none of you people would be able to afford, and that was give Dean an early retirement. After that, though, they are quickly taken off guard by Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. They attack them. They battle all the way into the ring. Jericho and Hager fight them off for a little bit, but the numbers game starts to take control of them. They get the advantage over Jericho and Hager. But who should come out but the Spanish God himself? Takes out Shawn Spears first, goes after Wardlow, takes out MJF. They go running for the hills. Sammy says, "Come Wednesday, I'm going to show why this company made a mistake putting your face everywhere," and says that you say that I'm better than you and you know it. Well, you're going to find out on Saturday that I'm the best ever and you know it. On Wednesday. Okay.
Back to Wednesdays, baby.
On Wednesday, he says, "I'm going to show you why I'm the best ever and you know it." And that is basically that build up for that match come Wednesday.
I was happy that it was short. But, again, it's a big brawl between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. I am very excited for MJF and Sammy, but I know that it's not the match that I want it to really be, because there's going to be shenanigans. And that's what's upsetting. I hope that they don't shenanigan this match up too much, and they just let these two go at it, and then after the match they can do as many shenanigans as they want. Because I just want to see these two go at it. This has been actually some pretty good build for not what many people thought was going to be the main storyline coming out. Everybody was like, it's going to be Jericho and MJF. Obviously, they have a lot of time to build to that, because I think it'll happen at All Out. But I don't think... There's a possibility that this does end in some form of a shenanigan DQ, and they can maybe do a stipulation at, Fyter Fest again between Sammy and Sammy and MJF. So... It did what it needed to do. It got itself out there, and it was over. I'm excited for the match.
Yeah, same. I think it should be very good. I like that it's the main event, and I like that. In a weird way, I don't want to say Jericho's taking a backseat, because he's not, but they are letting Sammy kind of be more in the front of the Inner Circle. Maybe instead of standing behind, he's kind of standing side by side with Jericho, and they're putting emphasis on him, which is good, because Jericho isn't going to be there forever. So
also, is he still hurt, or is that a fake injury now?
I think he's still. I'm pretty sure he's still. That's why he hasn't had a proper match since then.
Well, that's also... I know this Wednesday he just was announced he'll be doing commentary again for the show. So we'll have Jericho back on commentary. So that's what he'll be doing, at least for whatever hour. Probably the last hour. But yeah, very happy about... Once again, the youth movement shown strong.
So, after that, we get a Miro promo. He says, before I get to Brian Pillman, I want to thank God for giving me strength and making my wife flexible. So, good on you, G-Man.
He's also excited for the prospect. I mean, he didn't say this outright, but, to piggyback last week, he's going to have a second wife soon, so that's fun.
He said that trying to stray a righteous man from his path is like straying the sheep from its cleaver. And he said that he says to Brian that the bravest thing you did was thought about attacking me. The stupidest thing you did was actually doing it. And that's how he ended the promo. I love Miro. He's so good. He's so great.
Yeah, they found his niche, and it's amazing.
So Miro is one of my favorite parts of Dynamite every week. Ever since the pretty much the video game match,
the Arcade Anarchy.
Yeah, ever since then, because Miro was starting to come into his own a little before that, and then he really showed it there. And then the promos, I love the whole obnoxious religious stuff. It's so good, and him just he's such a good talker. It just goes to show, because I know he was one who had a kind of disappointing debut, and it was I don't know, maybe he's going to be one of these WWE guys that don't make it elsewhere, but it just goes to show he was over in WWE. He knew what he was doing. They didn't let him. Now here, he's over, and he's doing his thing, and the dude is killing it week after week.
He is. And I love to see it. He's finally found his stride. It is pretty much the best he's ever looked in his career. I'm hoping that this TNT title lasts a long time, because I am absolutely having a blast with God's favorite champion, Miro.
Yeah,
I already have, if I'm having Miro drop the belt, it's at that New York show. So he's got another 3 months. He gets another pay-per-view victory in my book. He builds that title up as well, and himself. And to piggyback off of what happens in our main event, I'd either have Jungle Boy or go for the crowd pick and have Eddie.
I could see that. I could also see that for that New York show, maybe they do Santana and Ortiz win the tag titles from the Young Bucks. I could also see that.
That's a good show too.
But the good thing about AEW is they have so many options for who can win these titles.
Yeah.
And they have good champions where you're well, we don't have to take the belt off of them now. They have well-developed personalities on their show.
That's Brian Alvarez brought that up this week when it was in regards to, how he's comparing Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns. But I think of it more in the sense that, I look at the WWE Championship side of things, and Drew McIntyre. Say Drew got hurt today. Who else is there? You look at AEW, you can name 5 other guys that are ready to go after Kenny Omega as a challenger. 5 other guys that can go after Miro right now as a challenger. And the same in the tag division. The women's division's getting there. But that's the best part about it, is that there's so many of these personalities that have now been established that it's there's always options. There's always so many choices. Like Brian Pillman Jr. and Miro are going to have a probably good match. That's really cool. Brian Pillman Jr. gets a chance. I'll give it. I can see him being one. There's so many other people that can just be getting these opportunities on TV. It gets the title showcase. It gets the challenger showcase, and it makes the champion himself have their stock risen. It's the best part. Everybody gets a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. After that, it is Ethan Page versus Bear Bronson from Bear Country.
Powerhouse. It's a creative pro.
This was basically just a match to make Ethan look good, considering what is coming next for Ethan Page. So they didn't really do anything too much of note here. Bear Bronson went for a sick-ass tope suicida in which Scorpio Sky pulled Ethan out of the way pulled him out of the way, and Ethan and Scorpio took the full brunt of it. Looked pretty sick. There was that one point where Paige was like, "Ref, this guy, who was it? What's his name? Boulder? His name is the partner's name Boulder?
Yes, Bear Boulder.
Bear Boulder. It's like, this guy touched me. Him distracts the referee. They send him to the barricade. Bear Bronson hits some nice power-looking moves. He hits a nice power slam. He did a nice spine buster at one point, and sidewalk slam. Finish, though, comes with Bear going to the top, it looks like, again. But Scorpio goes up top, distracts Bear. Boulder tries to go after Scorpio. Referees paying attention to them. Ethan gets the low blow onto Bear Bronson, hits the egos.
Oh, fucking deep-ass low blow.
I saw the replay of it. It was disgusting.
Really went in there. Damn it, Paige.
Really hits him right up between the groin and just...
Right in the bears.
Goes for the ego's edge. Hits it, middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3.
Impressive, because Bear Bronson not a small guy.
He's a big boy.
And Ethan Page, you look at him normally, and he doesn't look like he's like a strong, like that strong of a dude.
He does not look like a bodybuilder, no.
He just fucking chucks Bronson over him with his ego's head. I love Bear Country. I just want to make that clear. Bear Country are so cool. The masks that Bear Country have are so awesome. The fact it's their faces in bear traps. These guys have such a great, unique look, and it's awesome to see. Like, there are not many just big, beefy tag teams anymore. It's like there's a lot of like small guys, maybe a small guy and a big guy, but not like big hoss tag teams anymore. And these two guys are such an old school throwback with a little bit of that new school flair. Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers keeps winning with Creative Pro because these are his students. So I think, a fun match. Again, this was all for Paige. But again, great little showcase for Bear Country in there as well. What more can you ask for?
I thought that Bear Country needs to start looking a lot stronger in these matches, because for as mean and as big as a tag team that they are, they've got a piss poor record.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Look at the size of them, and they're kind of used as, they're on Dark usually, and
yes.
And then when they are on Dynamite, it's usually to make another team look good.
Yeah. But after this match, you get Paige on the microphone. He says, "I'm not stupid. I know that you're not done with me, Darby, and I'm not done with you. I'm not just finished. I'm not just satisfied with just pinning you. I said I was going to be the nail in your coffin." He repeats that about 3 times. Then
I knew exactly where we were going at that point.
I knew after the first time he said it, and then he kept saying it over. I'm like, Ethan, I know.
But that wasn't the thing that fucking got me. That wasn't the thing that got me. Because as soon as he started repeating himself, I heard a very familiar chant. I have a very familiar chant for the first time in over a year.
Oh yeah, I heard him too.
Because as soon as he started repeating himself,
what?
The what chants?
What?
The what chants?
What? Nail? What? In? What? My? What? Coffin? What?
No! No!
I said this. I was like, oh, there they are. There they are.
No, they're back.
There they are. I thought we were all gonna be nice for the few first, comeback shows. We're all gonna be nice crowds. Nope, we're back in the smart territory again with the damn what chance. Damn you, Steve Austin.
If there is anything that Steve should have never created in his life, is a fucking what chant. Why It's almost 2 decades! It's nearly 2 decades at this point! Why? Whatever. Fucking Ethan says, I'm gonna be the nail in the coffin, and that's why Darby... When is their match? It's not...
Road Rager. July 7th, that'll be the first Dynamite on the Road show out of Daly's Place live on TNT. That'll be next week. On
the Miami show.
Yes, it'll be in Miami. Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
So he challenges him to a coffin match.
I'm excited. I love a gimmick match, so fuck it. And I think, let's see. I think AEW can do a coffin match fun. Coffin matches can't be that fucked up,
So we got us. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's Darby Allin. Sometimes it's tough to do that kind of a gimmick match with everyone, but I mean, it's Darby Allin. He's gonna make it really fun.
It's Ethan, and Ethan is a very creative guy. He's very smart. He knows what his gimmick is. These two guys know each other very well. They're gonna make this very cool. I hope it's something akin to the Brave Encounters match from Lucha Underground. Like a little bit more, not cinematic, but really amping up what the coffin is and using it and abusing it. Just like go all out. Don't make this like your basic coffin. Guy goes in, guy comes out, guy goes in, guy. Really use your surroundings and the hardcore aspect of what a coffin match is. There's no rules. I think these two are going to have a really good match.
Do you think that's it for, I guess, the two teams, even though Sting's at home? Do you think that's it, or do we get another tag match? Or
I don't know, because I don't know what the end game is, honestly. But I feel like it's a coffin match, so you would think this is the end game. Maybe Darby does lose. Darby can go take a break at home for a bit or something. Because I feel like Ethan Page needs to win. We need to establish him a little bit more. Darby's already established.
Yeah, I could see it. See, I think Darby's gonna win. Maybe just because I just think the feud is gonna end. But I
would have the feud end. I would just have it with Ethan winning.
Yeah, and then I guess it's. I don't know where either go after this.
Yeah,
it's like I don't think Scorpio and Ethan Page are going to win the tag titles or anything like that. So I don't know what they do. And Darby and Sting, I don't know if Sting Sting is just incapable. I'm surprised he's been home for 2 weeks. So he's on the show, and I can't see him do anything that doesn't involve Darby as well.
I think that this whole thing, ever since, they brought in the minute of the year, they've brought up the history between Ethan and Darby.
Yeah.
So I think, if you're going to end this feud in any other way, it should be this. Because it's a big gimmick match, big coffin match. I don't know where you would go from there.
Do you think Scorpio and Sting have a match?
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying that it's a coffin match. This should be a feud ender.
This should be the end of the feud. So I don't.
I would guess maybe. Well, no, because the Bucks are heels. So you can't really have Men of the Year go after the tag belts.
You could have Darby and Sting go after the tag belts at 2-0.
I mean, why not? And just have the Bucks kill Sting? Yeah, sure.
Now the Bucks can just sell for Sting, and then
and then they super kick him one time, and then they kill Darby.
Yeah. Look, Sting. I'll say this: the first one was cinematic, but the second one, it went well. If there was anyone who could do it, it would be the Young Bucks. I don't know if I should be, but I'm mildly intrigued by the idea of them challenging for the tag titles. So.
Yeah, I would have maybe, like I said, if Darby loses, he goes away for a few weeks. I assume there's going to be another special, maybe in August before All Out, like a TV special, or maybe even at that, no, maybe like at the Jersey show or something. Just random challenge for the tag titles. Darby's back. They don't win. But whatever. It's something. Darby and Ethan and Scorpio and, like, I throw Lance Archer in there are, like, 4 guys where I'm like, what are we doing with these guys in feuds? And then where are we going? Because, like, Darby was there. He had the TNT title. He's not ready for the world title yet. These trios titles need to, like, start popping up if it's happening so we can get the tag division a little bit less clunky so that, like, Men of the Year can have, like, a more proper run in that division. It's just very, like, there's these big guys that we want to make big stars, but it's like, what else are we doing with them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's next for Darby? What next for Archer? What's next for the Men of the Year? Because I don't see what's next. Maybe Men of the Year go into, like, a Dark Order feud, because I feel like the Dark Order doesn't really have, like, I guess there's the Hardy family. No. I don't know.
Dark Order is feuding with everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess we will have to wait and see where this goes after the coffin match.
Then we get the doctors in the house.
After this, it seemed like we were very much padding for time until our main event, because there's like 5 different promos and then a match that didn't make any sense end-wise. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Alright.
But Britt and Reba are in their lounge. Britt's got the title, and she basically calls out the absolute stupidity.
The point, what we said last week, what everyone has said, you could have given a car, a new house, a football team, a title match. Bitch wants a match. What?
What's a tag match?
What's a tag match? Like, what? Vicky Guerrero. Dumb. Go home, Grandma.
So it was they already confirmed it when they switched to Vicky and Nyla, but Nyla and Britt will fight for the belt on night 2 of the Fyter Fest show. Nyla says that come Fyter Fest, you're gonna be in the ring with the Beast, but in tag on Wednesday, you're gonna feel the claws of the Cougar, and I immediately wanted to shut off my TV right after that. I don't want this.
What are they doing to Nyla?
I don't want this.
I don't want this because I've seen it already, and I don't want this tag match because I don't want to see Vicky wrestle.
Yeah.
She doesn't have...
I get it.
Be wrestling.
Vicky shouldn't be on my TV.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind it as much if she was not still doing her WWE shit.
What else is she gonna do?
What else does she have?
I know. But like,
it's excuse me, Eddie's my husband. I mean, and your ceiling is very... you don't got much else to go at that point.
And I thought when they were building this up, they were going to turn Nyla Rose face, and I was like, oh, that could be cool. But they're not. I guess it's just heel versus heel.
Yeah, it's just heel versus heel. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make anyone look good by the end of this.
No. I guess it's just something for Britt to do on the way to whatever's next.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, what is that?
I mean, I have my guess, and that's the winner of the match we're about to talk about.
Yeah, I'm hoping it is, but even then, I'm not entirely sure because, well, alright, we'll get to it because that's
the end of this match is the most controversial thing on this entire show. People think that that Bunny's hurt, but I don't think she's hurt. It was confirmed that neither of them are hurt. This was just a very bad ending.
So we get Bunny versus Chris Statlander up next. I thought it was a pretty decent matchup that they had. Bunny hit like a sick super kick in the corner while Chris was trying to do that like handstand thing in the corner. I thought that looked pretty cool. She hits a nice John Woo drop kick into the barricade on the outside. Chris would hit a few cool moves of her own. She hits a nice snap power slam on the outside. A spinning Michinoku driver for good measure. And she hit something else, but I can't remember what it was. I forgot to write it down. Whatever. So basically what happens is at the end of the match, because the Blade and Orange Cassidy are outside, and they're just bickering with each other throughout the most of the match. Blade hands the Bunny, I think, brass knucks while the referee wasn't looking. But Orange Cassidy comes in, takes the nuts away from her, puts them in his pocket, walks away. Bunny is just appalled by this. She can't believe what she just saw. I
thought it was funny, but okay.
She just takes her eyes off of Chris. Chris hits her with the Big Bang, and that's it. 3 count. After that, though, Orange Cassidy and Blade, they get into it, and they start going at it. Then who should come out but TH2? Jack Evans and Angelico come out, take out Orange Cassidy. They hold him up. Blade hits Orange Cassidy with brass knucks. They lay him out, and that's how we end that segment. What is this? Why are we having Orange Cassidy in just random ass feuds now?
I don't know. I thought they were, and maybe they still are, but I thought they were going to build him back to get another shot at Kenny, but now I don't know.
I mean, they had him facing off against the Wingman last week.
Hey.
Look, I'm not saying, like, if that had led to something, like, if that wasn't just a one-time thing, like, if that was, like, led into an actual storyline between the Wingman and the Orange Cassidy, and they built that up, that would have been great. But it's like, it seems like we're in a period with Orange Cassidy, like, we don't know what the fuck to do with him, so we're just gonna stick him into whatever feud works, and we'll wait until we find something that works. And once we find that something, we'll stick with that. But until then, we're just bouncing off the walls here.
Pretty much.
Again, these trios titles need to show up.
Yes! Well, I don't even think... Well, Trent just had
because you bring in the trios titles, that gives them a reason to do more tag team stuff. It gives them a reason to be involved in a feud that at least is relevant to something. If he was fighting the Wingman, maybe it is for a contendership type deal. It's not, then it wouldn't be a random feud. It'd be like, oh, this could lead to something now that there is a new title in there. Obviously, they want to push him as a singles guy as well, but Orange also falls into that category of like, he's there and then he's not, he's there and then he's not. The best thing about it so far, at least in his, favor, is that the crowd still love him no matter what he's doing. So this guy's not staling at any point, which is something people feared, that like the gimmick was going to get old and the crowd would turn on it or anything. But no, people still fucking love him and whatever he does. So at least in his favor, that's good. But I guess in the terms of like long term, it's all right. Now it's like, it's better that he's feuding with them, at least than the Wingman, at least the HFO, whatever it is. At least that's a higher, caliber team. But I don't know if this was really a feud for Orange, where it was more or less for Chris.
It's just very confusing because.
Well, listen. If this was, I'm going to put it in this case. What was going on? It was live, full crowd. Orange was not on the show, like he didn't have a match. If this was still a crowdless Dynamite, I bet you would have been Trent or Chuck that would have came out.
But we can't even use the excuse for the trios belts anymore because Trent's, I think, out again because he just had neck fusion surgery.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he posted it on Twitter.
Oh, shit. Well, maybe if Cody One Kenobi got off his and brought in intergender wrestling, then things would be different. But
get Chris, Chuck, and Orange as trios tag champs.
Yeah, then you could have, like, the Bunny and the Butcher and the Blade.
That would be interesting.
But, Cody One Kenobi on his high horse.
I don't know. Hopefully this all leads to good things for Orange Cassidy. I'm just not too thrilled about it right now.
But now it is time.
We gotta go through like 3 quick promos real quick. I'm just gonna go through them because they didn't really... Nothing much of note was...
you have to announce what's happening this Wednesday. I can finally say this Wednesday again.
So, QT Marshall has a promo. He basically talked shit about Arn Anderson, says he's going to beat Cody in the South Beach strap match, and that he's going to make Cody star in one of those superhero movies that he loves so much.
Rock Anderson, by the way, speaking of Andersons. By the time... we're up and running with the episode, he will have competed in his second match ever on Dark Elevation.
Oh my goodness!
In a 6-man tag match.
Go! Great. Brian Pillman Jr. has a promo. He just talks real quick about his match.
Good.
For the TNT title.
He's very good at talking.
He is.
I mean, what a surprise. He's Brian Pillman Jr. But something I just want to know, and maybe eventually, because I could see it happening. He's obviously in the Hollywood Blondes phase of his career right now. Do you think he ever hits he's gonna go for the insane thing?
I don't know if he has that. I don't know if he's gonna have that. Cause
I hope he doesn't. The reason why is because I think it's okay, like, doing, like, the Hollywood Blondes thing right now, but I think if he does that, it'll be, he's just doing his father's thing.
And plus, you gotta think about the way on how Pillman had to get that far to begin with, because that was basically, like, his, like, it's like a cry for attention, is what it was.
Yeah.
Like, that whole loose cannon gimmick in the first place, yeah. That was like his last-ditch effort to be someone in professional wrestling. So I'm hoping for a fact that's not how Pillman Jr. goes, and that he has like a bit more of a more steady climb than his father did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after that, Kingston cuts a promo with Penta, pretty much talking about how the Bucks laid everybody out. SCU, Pac, Phoenix, Moxley, but that's not going to happen to them. And then Penta says something in Spanish. What's his name?
Miedo.
Cero Miedo. That's basically the gist of it. You know how this works.
Yeah, so quick rundown of what we know already for Wednesday night, back in the time slot that matters. Of course, our main event will be Sammy Guevara and MJF. That's gonna rule. We're going to have that tag team match between Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Reba Rebel, whatever. Reba. And Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. Tell me now. We have a tag team title eliminator match. Penta and Eddie Kingston are going to take on the Young Bucks. If Penta and Eddie win, they're going to get an opportunity to face for the tag team titles. There's another match that's slipping my mind right now that I can't remember.
Brian Pillman Jr. and
Miro are going to go at it, and Chris Jericho will be on commentary. Of course, there'll probably be another match or two announced within the week. So that's that. It is now time for one of the best things AEW TV-wise this year, in my opinion. All of it. The post-match, everything. So many storylines paying off and building. It's the AEW World Title match between Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy.
This was fantastic. It starts off, Jungle Boy makes his entrance. He gets a very raucous reaction.
The crowd love it. Oh, that's the best thing ever.
I love him. They're very much behind Jungle Boy in this one. Kenny Omega.
Who is it? He's the best. Fucking love Jungle Boy. I love Luchasaurus. Marco Stunt's awesome too. I love the whole thing. The crowd love it. Bless you, Tony Khan, for giving out the money for the licensed music. Not everybody needs licensed music, but a little bit here and there goes such a long way for somebody's career. This kid is now a star. Everywhere he goes, people are going to chant and do the Tarzan Boy opening. He has a whole wave thing now. He has something that the crowd has a reaction to. And he's only 24. And Kenny Omega gave this kid like 80% of this match.
He gave him everything, dude. Like,
a match.
Omega,
holy shit. Everybody was on point. Even JR was on point.
Omega was so giving in this matchup. And I know, like, there's, like, really no reason for him to, like, he could have easily, like, this could have easily been booked, like, Omega just dominates this match with Jungle Boy in it, but Jungle Boy makes his comeback near the end, and, do that whole story, but no, he gave Jungle Boy a ton in this contest, which props to Omega. He made Jungle Boy and they just meshed so well together. Jungle Boy gets the advantage on Omega early during the contest. He's pulling
before that, Paul Turner kicks everybody the fuck out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because that is going to come into play later on.
So, Marco Marco decided to be stupid, try to go after Big Dangly, Big LG.
Good for Marco. Beat the shit out of him. Get him off my TV. I don't want to see Big Dangly anymore.
On Big Doc Gallows.
No,
yeah, baby.
No,
he's out there jerking off and everything. Like,
yeah.
Keep Carl Anderson. I don't want the other one.
So Marco gets fucking tossed out, and so does Luchasaurus because Marco's being fucking belligerent and small and angry. So they kick him out, and
he's pissed off. And racist Paul Turner kicking out the dinosaur.
Oh my god, it's not what that is.
How dare they disrespect my Dino Daddy?
Also, Paul Turner getting real sick and tired of fucking Gallows making his belt look like a penis, kicks them all out. They're saying they're going back. All of them are back.
Good.
So it's
one. And the best part, and then the match starts, and it's a great, just what a match!
It's so good. So,
and shout outs to Don Callis on commentary with one of the best points of just making Jungle Boy even more of a star to the listeners at home. Don Callis, the evil Don Callis, Kenny Omega's uncle, the heel manager, screaming for Jungle Boy to make the count at one point in this at the top of his lungs. That's how into the match he was, investing, making us feel invested, that he would break that character for this kid. Don Callis, not enough credit.
Oh, he's amazing. He is such an asset to AEW and Kenny Omega right now. And I knew, like, everyone else, Jungle Boy wasn't going to win. I knew that. But there were points in this match where they got me at different points where I was like, oh, maybe. And, obviously it didn't, but that's, when you have a good story, that's what you want to do. You want to give people this false, like, oh, maybe they'll do it.
So this match basically goes, like, the crowd's red hot, like, right off the bat. They're ready for this. They're ready to go. Jungle Boy is all over Omega during the beginning portions of this match. He gets a nice-looking arm drag, springboard arm drag, sends Omega to the outside, hits him with the tope. He's flying over everything. He's flying all over across the ring. He hits a tope con heel at one point. Like, all of, like, Omega's moves that you would think he would hit during this match, I don't think he got any of it. Like, he didn't do the Terminator dive. I think he was able to get the You Can't Escape at one point, but he had to really work for it. That was the whole gist of the match, is that Jungle Boy made Omega work for everything he got in this match. And
a great little bit of symbolism as well at the beginning with Omega playing with Jungle Boy's hair, and then him having to use it later on in the snare trap.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the storytelling of this match is incredible. Like, I wouldn't say this is top 3 TV matches for me of AEW this year. Like, not just purely on wrestling, but the story inside of it as well.
So, they're going at it for a little bit. Omega starts to come back near the middle portions of this match, and then he starts to get into his Omega thing. He gets all cocky. He starts hitting his signature moves for the most part. The real story of this match comes near almost later parts of this match. Because Omega's hitting everything. He's hitting Jungle Boy with everything. He's hitting him with V-triggers. He's hitting him with the power moves. Everything possible. But as soon as he tries to set him up for that one-winged angel, Jungle Boy has a goddamn counter for it. He has that thing scouted beyond all belief. He at one point, he gets the roll-up on Omega. He escapes multiple times. I think at one time he reverses the one-winged angel into a snare trap.
Amazing counter.
It's so good.
Before we get to that, I just want to talk about his awesome the little dive sequence that was going on, where Jungle Boy went for the 2 topes, the elbow suicide to the outside, and then Kenny Omega on the third one gets him out of the way. Goes for a little, throws him back in the ring, struts around the ring because he's like, yeah, I got him. And then Jungle Boy with just the sickest tope over the top rope, just laying Kenny Omega out. What a great little sequence that was. Again, Omega did not have to give Jungle Boy as much as he did as champion, but it just adds so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just the amount of just the amount of offense that he gave him, just making his offense look fantastic. Somebody on Twitter pointed this out, that before the snare trap, I don't think I could tell you what Jungle Boy's finisher was, which is I think they might. I don't know. Yeah, I think they might need to establish
it's the snare trap.
It is now, yeah.
It's before the snare trap, before they started really making a big deal.
Before the snare trap, if they were pushing that DDT he would do off the second the rope, not the tornado one. I can't even remember how the hell it went now. They were trying something.
Oh, you're a high flyer. Go do that.
But now they got the snare trap in. It looks better than John Cena's.
Yeah. One thing to point out, too, you guys are talking about how much Kenny gave Jungle Boy here and how much offense he had in the match. Think about, in, was it 2019? When Jungle Boy wrestled Chris Jericho, when Jericho was the AEW World Champion. Jericho pretty much dominated most of that match.
Yeah, he did.
Jungle Boy survived the 10 minutes, and now, Brian Alvarez made this point, it shows how much the Jungle Boy character has grown in that time, where he didn't win, but he's improved from his last big match where he was facing a main event guy.
And now, look, 2 years later, and he's holding his own with arguably the greatest wrestler going right now in America, in Kenny Omega, purely on wrestling skill.
Yep.
And he's able, and that snare trap sequence, that was the one point where I was like, is he about to tap out? And then obviously here comes Gallows.
The big dangly, baby!
But the best part of this whole thing is the GTA materialization of Frankie Kazarian. Where the hell did this man come from?
How did it go?
Frankie Kazarian just pops up out of nowhere on my screen. I'm like, did he get edited in? Where did he just... Hi, Frankie. and that's another best part is it didn't overstay its welcome. It was in and out. Nope, they're gone already. Bye again. It was like they didn't come in or like fuck with the match. It was like, oh, are they about to go do it? And then they don't. And then, because of that, the clever distraction of Kenny now pulling the hair that he was making fun of before, realizing, oh no, this might actually be the only thing I can do. And I believe he pulled his hair and he gouged his eye.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the turning point for Jungle Boy at this point. He wasn't out of the ballpark just yet, but that was pretty much the turning point in his offense was that gouging of the eye.
So, so I guess this will lead to the finish of this match. At one point, Omega hits a V-trigger on Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy eats it, responds with that sick-ass rebound lariat that he hits.
For a small guy, got a sick lariat.
Yeah, hits a brain buster on Omega for a 2 count. Kenny goes for another V-trigger, tries to go for the One-Wing Angel, gets countered into a roll-up for a 2. Jungle Boy gets in the snare trap again. However, this time Omega gets desperate. He starts pulling out the air, raking at the eyes. He tries to go after Jungle Boy again. Jungle Boy catches him, tries to go up for the top rope, but Omega slips him under and then bounces Jungle Boy's face off the top rope. Omega hits a nice Tiger Driver, J Driller, whatever you want to call it, for a 2 count. Picks up Jungle Boy, hits him with the One-Winged Angel. Finally, for the victory, Omega wins the AEW Championship in a fantastic match. Just unbelievable.
Phenomenal match. It's second best behind the Omega and Phoenix match.
I was about to say the same thing.
In terms of TV show matches.
I don't know where it ranks for me, but it certainly is high up. It's one of the best main events in AEW Dynamite history, and great main event for their last show that got bumped. So they'll be back on Wednesdays, and hopefully we get more matches like these back on Wednesdays and on the road.
After the match, though, Omega's not done with Jungle Boy just yet. He's looking to make an example out of him. Grabs the belt, looks like he's about to hit him. But who should come out and make the stage other than Christian Cage?
Christian!
Omega tries to retreat.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead, Joe. No, sorry. No. I was going to jump the gun again.
Christian goes after Omega, but Matt Hardy and Private Party show up. Matt tries to go for the twist of fate on Christian, but he blocks it. He tries to go for the kill switch.
He's going to finally hit it on Matt Hardy, but oh no, it's the goddamn Bucks.
Fucking Young Bucks come up, super kick him right in the face.
And then Nick Jackson starts doing the Jeff Hardy dance. I start dying.
And then Matt hits him with the twist of fate yet again. The Hardy family office and the Elite standing tall to close out this episode of
the clear
AEW Dynamite.
I mean, great main event and a great ending segment because that you've just set up 3 matches for your goddamn Fighter Fest and stuff. You're gonna obviously you're probably gonna get some 6-man ordeal here. Obviously, Christian is finally gonna fight Matt Hardy, and then I assume he beats Matt Hardy, and that's what's gonna get him his title shot against Kenny Omega, probably at Fight for the Fallen. And storytelling, because it makes sense.
Okay, well, that brings that question. So you think the Christian match is Fight for the Fallen? You think they stretch that out to All Out, or do you think it's Hangman's time at All Out?
It's Hangman's at All Out. I think you'll get Matt and like Christian maybe night 1, night 2 Fighter Fest. Probably night 1, so that night 2 can have like a promo between Kenny and like Christian, and then Fight for the Fallen, your big main event. Christian gets the big title opportunity. You get the big dream match, Christian, Kenny Omega, and then you're building Hangman. Hangman is winning this belt in Chicago. It makes the most sense out of everything. 2 years later, in the same arena where he wasn't able to capture the belt, comes back around. He's not only able to capture the belt, he's able to beat Kenny Omega in front of a ruckus Chicago crowd. I mean, I don't know on what other main event you got going but that's the one that puts them on the map even further. And Christian right there in the middle, a little match here and there. That's a great little mini feud and a good big main event for a special event on TNT. And it'll be in front of a crowd, so like a non Florida crowd. I think we'll be in Texas or North Carolina for one of those shows. Right there, North Carolina and Texas, both wrestling states. They're gonna cheer for Christian because they're getting to see Christian wrestle for the first time in 7 years, and it's against Kenny Omega, and he's gonna fight Matt Hardy. That match is gonna go over extremely well. This whole ending still, Jungle Boy still comes out looking good. He's gonna move on to something else now. He wasn't maybe we get Jungle Boy and the Jurassic Express against maybe Private Party and Matt Hardy, or some form of Christian and Jungle Boy. That's probably the sixth man that I'm thinking. Maybe that happens at Road Rager.
Anderson.
Or that maybe happens this week.
Anderson and Big Dangly.
Do you guys think that, so say that happens, Christian gets a shot at Fight for the Fallen, loses, do you think maybe we get Christian Cage heel turn?
Yeah, I think that's the perfect time to do that, because I still think him and Jungle Boy fighting, perfect idea. I brought this up before on the show. I don't know if it was one of the episodes that made it to air or not, that I think eventually when Christian turns heel, we're going to see a new... I think he's going to have a stable. We're going to get a new Christian coalition. And I think the two best people at that point would be Scorpio and Paige.
Ooh, that's good.
I could see that.
That's really
good. I think the three of them together, I think, would work well. It would give Scorpio and Paige, at least some form of an identity, even more than just the Men of the Year thing. Christian being with it, it's another trio for your upcoming trios tag titles. And it gets people doing something. And I think the three of them together, great on the mic, also very good in ring guys. It's easy booking. I mean, it's of course it's fantasy booking, but I think AEW is smart enough that even if it's not the Men of the Year, I still think Christian is going to eventually be leading some form of a faction.
You can get Tomko.
I would love to. Oh man,
if we could
the
find
problem
Tomko,
solver.
That'd be great.
Yeah, if Tomko is still doing what he was doing a couple years ago, he's probably not getting the job. But maybe he's doing good.
He's the problem solved.
That's true.
All in all, I was going to say, all in all, I thought this was a really good episode of Dynamite, despite, the last, probably 20, 30 minutes before the main event feeling just extra stuff. I thought there's some really good stuff here. The Hangman Powerhouse match, the Conan Tully promo, Dante and Matt Sydal,
Oh yeah, the whole first hour was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Even we getting set up matches for Ethan and Darby in the coffin match. There's a lot of stuff that is very much you can find and enjoy about this, and it's not only just the main event, which some people thought would be a one-match show, but I thought this was actually a very, very well put together show by AEW.
It felt like a little mini special, like it was supposed to. It was at, again, the 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It felt like a big deal. There are also, this is just from, if you're into photo perspectives, people have gotten some amazing shots of the sun setting from Daly's Place to the background of some matches, including the sunset flip, which was a very funny photo. It was the sun setting as Dante Martin did his crazy sunset flip, so that's fun. So, yeah, the whole first hour was great. The main event, of course, was stellar. Yeah, there was a little lull period in the middle with a lot of build and a lot of promos. But I never lost my attention at all during this whole show. One knock to make it not a 10 out of 10. There was no Cody 1 Kenobi, so sad.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mario, he'll be back.
Oh, yeah. He better be back. He's Cody 1 Kenobi, Shawn.
He's gotta, save America and all that.
He's gonna save us from Darth. He's gonna save us from Darth Omega. There's a whole storyline I have.
No, we're not doing that right now.
I think that's it for Dynamite.
Yeah, that is
another great episode. We'll see you for Wednesday. Thank God we're back to our original time slot.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, thank you. No more of the Friday, late night Fridays. I can't do it.
The last ever Daly's Place Dynamite for the foreseeable future. I think they're going back in August, but at least for now, we won't be seeing that venue anymore. But let's get on to the news, because, hey, ring the bell, everybody. There's releases again. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
let's just get it over with.
Over this week, there's a bit of news that came out. Some very surprising, very, not a lot of people saw it coming. How could you? But over the last week, the world would see the return of the rated R superstar Edge making his return to SmackDown. He's going to be fighting the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. That's what you wanted to talk about, wasn't it? Was that?
No, I wanted to talk about how 14 people were released, and
why do you want me to bring this whole thing down? Like, I was having fun talking about Dynamite. I want to talk about
Edge is back to fight, even though he was toppled and destroyed at WrestleMania. That's because we released a bunch of people, we don't have anybody else that could fight Roman Reigns before shows back up. So.
All right, well, let's fucking talk about it. Okay, so
yes,
on Friday, WWE released 13 wrestlers, and...
Oh, no, it was 14. There was a name that was never announced, but was softly announced afterwards, and then also the one writer.
Okay. Well, those names that I have on my list are as followed. Killian Dane, the Bollywood Boys, Sunil and Samir Singh, Marina Schaefer, Arturo Ruas, Kurt Stallion, Fandango, Tyler Breeze, Everrise, Chase Parker, and Matt Martell, Tony Nese, Arya Davari, and August Gray.
And also Tino Sabatelli again.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Again.
He kind of sucks.
So I guess we'll talk about this before we get on to the writer aspect of this.
Which is the main, cropping story here. I mean, so what happened here is 205 Live got gutted. And Triple H is mad.
No. Absolutely.
Apparently, from as we've heard reports that Triple H had planned, of course, now with the Diamond Mine thing and Kushida and bringing in other guys. There was an idea to resurge the Cruiserweight division. So how do we do that? By firing half of the roster.
That was literally 80% of the people who were on 205 Live. On this list.
Had matches that night.
Yeah, right? They haven't made an announcement yet, but they're going to have to cancel 205 Live, right?
I don't know how you continue. There's no one left. Who do you put on the show?
Yeah.
Well, they have these new guys that they've debuted. Of course, we have indie darling and sensation Alex Zane. He's now like Ari Sterling now. And,
Ari Sterling. He sounds like a bird.
We have a Garrison Weller or something. He's some dude from Australia that's not Adam Brooks that I thought was Adam Brooks. Some other guy from Evolve.
That really helps. Adam.
Blake Christian, what's his name?
Oh, Blake Christian. I forgot what his name.
What's his new name now?
I'll look it up.
Something Dexter. No, not Dexter.
It's not Dexter. Dexter Loomis is a dude. Fucking...
I don't remember his name. There's not a lot of people.
No.
Trey Baxter.
God damn. So that's who we have. But okay. If I look at certain people, I look at somebody like Kurt Stallion. What the hell were we doing with Kurt Stallion? We weren't doing a damn thing. He had that 2-week match.
Apparently he was supposed to get a big push on 205 Live, but he got injured.
Marina Shafir is kind of surprising. because apparently she was supposed to be a part of Diamond Mine, and so was Arturo Ruas, but he was also hurt, but he was another guy that had been up and down through this system. I don't know if we were ever going to find a place for him. I'm surprised for Arya and Tony because of 205 Live. I thought that was like the backbone. We got
they were like their workhorses of that entire thing. Like when everybody left, they were still there.
I believe one of the Bollywood boys was injured, which the biggest surprise I think people have made clear, and I think it as well, is this is like the first time, I think, in a very, very long time where we're releasing people who are hurt.
Yeah, that's true. You don't usually see that. Usually they wait until someone is not hurt anymore and then cut them. So it's not a case anymore. It literally has come to a point where it does not matter. I mean, it was John Ross that made it very clear with his tweet, stating that Tony Khan does not pretty much care about Tony Khan and Vince McMahon and all of them at this point Nick Khan and Vince are not looking at what you're doing anymore. They're looking at your salary. They're looking at what you're making. It doesn't matter who you're married to. Clearly, in the case of Killian Dane, it doesn't matter how long you've been there, longevity, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, and it doesn't matter if you're hurt or not, because I believe, like you said, Kurt Stallion was hurt. One of the Singh brothers was hurt. Arturo Rujas was hurt. That's 3 people who were hurt. Let go. Everrise, who had a pretty prominent spot, even though they were like comedy jobbers, were doing a lot.
They just they put them on their on the WWE YouTube channel a day before they got released. They were doing their whole Everrise live thing.
Look at Fandango and Tyler Breeze. It looked like they were just starting a feud with Imperium. On top of the 205 thing, we also just gutted 3 NXT tag teams as well.
Yep. Clearly they didn't care, and these decisions were made right before they made the phone calls. And I think one thing, there's a few exceptions, but some of the names are a lot of guys who are in their 30s. Like, I didn't even know the Everrise guys how old they were. They're actually like in their later 30s, but like it's guys who I guess they didn't see that they would invest in and just decided to cut them. It sucks.
I'm sorry. We lost 4 tag teams. I forgot Killian Dane and Drake Maverick.
That's right. I'm kind of surprised that Drake Maverick didn't get fired again. I love the guy, but...
Do you think it's because you think they'd feel like, oh, here's the backlash again?
No,
or do you think people wouldn't give a shit at this point?
They don't care.
I mean, they need some cruiserweights. I guess you could put Drake back in the cruiserweight division at least.
You could do that. That'll work. I think he made a mistake going back, but I just figure, I thought with these cuts, because this been cut number 3 now, so I figured he was next up, but he survived, and hey, maybe he won't get cut, which is cool. But if I'm not like one of the top names in NXT, or some of the top names, because clearly we saw Braun Strowman get released, so clearly it doesn't make that big of a difference where you are. I would think about looking at other options in case you get let go.
Yeah. Just want to make quick notes of people I believe that really got screwed over. Not just with the release thing, but just during their whole stint in WWE, with people I don't really thought got a chance. Tyler, obviously, of course, people obviously bring up that, just considering what the dude did in NXT and him showing so much promise on that NXT roster, and then just them immediately not doing a damn thing with him. Like, they had him with Ziggler, and then they were done. Like, that was it for Tyler Breeze as far as...
Yeah, his main roster was such a disappointment.
They gave up on him right away.
This is the man who had Yushin Liger's only WWE match.
Yep.
I saw that. We saw that.
Like, I that's true. Which was it was an excellent match. I'm glad I got to see it.
Yeah.
You know, I put the tweet up. I know, Adam, you saw it, but like Tyler Breeze, you know, he was over in NXT. They could, you know, damn shame they didn't have the North American title then, because he would have definitely had it. Then he goes to the main roster. I think easy could have been an IC level guy. They never gave him the shot. Him and Fandango get over, doing their shtick with the Usos. They don't get the SmackDown tag titles. They go to NXT, and they later won the NXT tag team titles, but they really didn't do all that much with them. No North American title run when he had that opportunity. No cruiserweight title. They just never went with him.
This is another situation where, in the AW sense, that wouldn't have happened. Fandango goes down with an injury, so what happens to Tyler? Nothing. He sits at home and does nothing. You could have had him out there. Maybe he doesn't need to win the Cruiserweight title or the North American, but he's in the mix. He's doing something. He's still being involved. People love this guy. I feel bad for the up, down, down fans who are now going to love him, because, like, him and Woods, that's the whole chemistry. So I don't know if that gets to continue or not. Because now that up, down, down pretty much has been converged into a WWE product. So, like, that's a whole, like, fan base you lose, which means then guess what happens? You lose revenue, which, fuck, if they cancel it, that sucks. Like, they're not, again, it clearly shows they do not care what you're doing or what your contributions are. It's how much money you are taking away so that we can bottom out and sell this company. I made the tweet, and I'm going to keep by it. 2 years, this company is sold.
Yeah,
these releases are coming every week at this point, consistently, and it's big names that you wouldn't expect, and it's older people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something's a brewing.
And everything that you said, about Tyler Breeze, I say the exact for Fandango, and I blame Jake Hager. I blame Jake Hager for his derailment.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he got hit with a couple injuries along the way that kind of stalled things. And they gave up on him as well. Yeah, I mean, you go back to, I mean, Adam, and you would know this, but like...
Oh, his NXT stuff.
That, I mean, anything with Johnny Curtis was great. And then when he did the Fandango thing at first, the theme music got over, he got over. I love the guy.
This dude, again, like I made the tweet, he's one of the best, most underrated comedic talents that WWE had. Again with Tyler Breeze, that they just never capitalized. This guy could have been so much money, and the crowd loved him. And even after the concussion, he came back, and then they gave him that stupid heel salsa gimmick, and that was like, well, let's just kill the character, why don't we? And then you had the first, like, Breezango and, like, all the fun, like, Fashion Police segments on SmackDown. Why didn't they have a tag title run? It never made sense why they never capitalized on something that can make them money. Why? Because, they're doing it on their own, and we're not the ones who are behind it.
Let me ask you guys this. I mean, this is a long list of names, and in 90 days or 30 days, depending on their situation, they're going to be available for other wrestling companies to pick up. You know, they aren't the biggest names in the world, but of this group who recently got cut, who do you think has the most potential to make an impact in another company?
I think I'll go first because I don't have many, but I think Killian Dane and Tony Nese might get AEW like tryouts on Dark or something, or I can see Tony going to Impact. I think Bollywood Boys and Impact is a solid at this point, and maybe Everrise at Impact. I think they could use some new tag teams. Fandango, I think maybe, I don't know, Fandango and Tyler seem like this might be the end.
They could retire.
And that would be sad, because I feel like both of them still have something to offer, whether together or separately, especially Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Tyler's got his school that he could focus on. I think Fandango has a school too. So, whatever, who knows what could happen there. But those are what I would pick.
So, obviously, I got Killian Dane. Like, I feel like he could go anywhere. He's a very versatile big man. He's very good as a big man wrestler as well. And that's coming from a dude who saw a lot of his work during when the British wrestling scene wasn't absolutely fucked. I heard Kurt Stallion's pretty good. I could see him in Impact Wrestling, considering Evolve's not a thing anymore.
I don't see the appeal.
I think he's just, at this point, he's a very good worker, which I think could work if he goes to Impact, especially for that X division. I think he'd be perfect for it.
August Gray, I forgot to mention him. Anthony Green.
Oh yeah, him too. Fandango and Tyler, I think they'd have to be a package deal if they were going to continue. I don't know if they are going to continue, but if they should definitely be a package deal. Because I see more money in them as a tag team than as singles people right now. Everrise, or 3.0. I didn't know these guys before they went to WWE.
I had heard like the OG like indie tag teams of the day that were like in that mix, like with the Super Smash Brothers, but they never really went anywhere.
But I'm hearing they're like really highly rated by a lot of guys.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens especially.
Kevin Owens, Chuck Taylor. I think even Evil Uno shouted them out.
Hey, look, these guys had massive charisma on NXT.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They were entertaining as hell to watch. So they have that. I mean, they're also good hands in the ring. They're fine for what they are. I just, after hearing their ages, that's what kind of like made me go, well, maybe we don't sign him to a big company, but Impact seems okay.
I think
ROH could use some tag teams.
I don't know what the hell ROH's image
ROH
is
could use everything.
Well, they have Violence Unlimited right now, and that's amazing. Chris Dickinson and Tony Deppen, good for you guys. GCW.
The one thing that they have going for them is Violence Unlimited and Jonathan Gresham, and that's about it.
Pretty much.
Bandito.
Yeah, Bandito is great, yeah. Just the second, like, I'm not really familiar with some of the 205, like, newer 205 and NXT guys, because I just wasn't watching when they got brought in, so I can't speak on what they'll do, but I think Breeze, if he goes to the right place, he can do well, and I'm really big on the Bollywood boys. I think they could be a team that, like, if they would be lost in the shuffle, I think, in an AEW, but if they go somewhere else, they could maybe it would be an Impact, and they could break out there and maybe get a better offer later. I just think they have a lot of potential, but really, I've noticed you guys, like, it's the same, I say the same thing. It's whenever these guys get cut, it's always like, well, is Impact going to get them? Is AEW going to get them? Maybe New Japan, like Ring of Honor and the NWA and MLW and these other companies need to wake up and hire these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, hey, but NWA's got Iris.
Yeah.
No.
And they got to pay.
They got JTG, and that's awesome. He's great, right?
JTG's cool. Tyrus, not so much. And
Fred Rosser.
Fred Rosser's New Japan.
And Chris Adonis.
Well, don't worry. They're paying Nick Aldis like 6 figures. So
yeah, sure. But hey, listen. A few years ago, when like WWE was grabbing everybody and AEW had just started, the Indies kind of hit a really bad Right now, with everybody that's getting like let go, and a lot of really, really good up and coming independent talent that's around that you can catch on MLW. People like me and Sahir, big fans of Calvin Tankman. Or like Effie. Effie deserves more.
Mm-hmm.
Like the independent scene's about to see a really good resurgence with, so all these guys are, I think, obviously it's really upsetting because it's people you've been watching for a while and you're not going to be able to see them on TV anymore, but they're all going to have good amount of work. There's so many places in the indies right now that are doing really well because they got those Fight TVs and IWTV deals. They're making money, so you're making money. You're a bigger name, so you're going to be getting a good, decent paycheck. And so many of these guys end up going to these little independents, and then boom, they get a dark match or an elevation match, or they get to be involved with something Impact related once they go back to like when they do the specials with the other independent companies they team up with. Everybody's going to be perfectly fine.
Okay.
I just hope New Japan takes Tyler Breeze, puts him in the junior division. That's all I want.
That would work. I would.
Tony,
God knows that they need it.
Yeah,
Nese,
for real.
Tony Nese and Best of Super Juniors would be pretty sick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there was one more person on that released list that, well,
I know is like the biggest story of it all.
Yeah. There was,
and you know, I feel bad for this woman, but at the same time, we go back to WWE being just as a terrible company.
So, Kenise Mobley, who was apparently, I think she was a comedy writer. She's a comedian. She's a stand-up comedian and a comedy writer. Yes,
was on a podcast, the Asian Not Asian podcast, which First, I want to ask a question here. Does anybody know about what apparently the podcast they do on the podcast?
No.
I know this has nothing to do with wrestling, but David Bixby, if anybody follows him on Twitter,
I do.
He made a good point that he listened to the podcast, and the first half of this podcast, they play a game where they try to guess the ethnicity of their Patreon backers by their last names.
Oh my.
And that isn't being mentioned at all. But I was like, okay, well, maybe we don't do that. And then he made a funny joke stating, is that why the name of the podcast is what it's called? Which was funny. But still, what the fuck? But yeah, she's on this podcast and she gets this interview and she, I
have it. I have it. So
if you'd like to read it.
So she was asked about, what being hired by the WWE, what that was like, what that entailed, and this is what she pretty much had to say. Yes, I have been hired by WWE, given the things that you know about me and my entire life and what I'm into. Yes, that's also a surprise for me. They did not require me to know anything about wrestling, but I do have a background in film production and comedy writing, and they're like, perfect, come on in. So, I am on the Monday Night Raw team. So there's Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, and the people I know that are on it are Bobby. His name is either Bobby Ashley or Bobby Lashley, and I really should know that. He's like this giant black guy, and the people who are a part of his crew, I know that they call, or at least as of last year, they called themselves the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business, they wear suits, and they're like, we're cool. And that was... Now, before we jump into criticisms, this was a podcast that apparently came out 2-3 weeks ago that I guess was discovered or brought up recently. And she made it clear, apparently also in the podcast that was not mentioned in that little transcript, the one that's very popular that's going around, that she was going to then do her research immediately after that going forward. So, who knows if she actually did all that and did learn up on things. So she would have done, apparently she had not started until the past week's episode of Raw. So the week prior to this was her first night officially on Raw. She was brought in specifically to be dialogue writing for pretty much backstage segments in between matches, the promos and little skits and all that. So I don't watch Raw, so I don't know if anything felt different or changed because of that. So she was obviously assaulted a lot by the fans because of these statements. The reason she was fired, it was clear, it was not because of this, but it was more so the fact that she had once revealed a bunch of behind-the-scenes secrets, but also, as WWE made clear, made them look blatantly stupid by hiring somebody who had no idea what they were doing, being a part of a company they don't know anything about. But also,
she had talked to a friend that said, "Why are you doing this?" And this was also recorded.
Yeah, she was on a date with the guy.
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid that this diminishes?
It's gonna hurt your credibility? Yeah. And she said, "Oh, I'm making a paycheck." So that was another reason WWE was like,
because she didn't defend them. She didn't
exactly. So, well, again, this is why I'm saying, obviously, that thing comes out, and the wrestling fan base mob are gonna go after her. One, she's got a point, and two, it's not her fault. She makes it very clear they did not ask her to know anything about their company. It's their fault for doing this stupid way of going about their company because they don't want to be wrestling anymore. But they can't admit that, because then they lose money, and they lose sponsorships, and they lose their fan base. It's this... I don't understand what this business mentality is. Because this poor girl gets harassed, and now she's out of a job now. And it's all your fault, because you shouldn't have done this in the first place. This should not be what you're doing. This is why this company is hurting people's careers.
I look at it like in two ways. Obviously, the one who's at the most fault here is WWE, right? So they hired her, and we all know this is hardly the first time they've hired a writer with no wrestling background. They've done it for years and years. We've heard the stories. This is just the first time that writer publicly said so, and kind of in a weird way kind of bragged about it. And she's a comedian, so she's trying to be funny. And I think she did nothing wrong in taking the job or anything like that. I mean, if they weren't asking for it, then fine. But maybe she should have, if she was going to take the podcast interview, because I think at a point in the interview she said they may not be happy with this or whatever. She maybe should have thought about what she was going to say about the WWE before saying so.
She clearly had no idea what, they didn't tell her. I mean, you would have thought they would have said something, or, given her, a policy to abide by. They clearly did not inform her on anything, what she can or what she can't say, or what she can do and can't do. I mean, she's just the first one that decided, well, I'm just going to go about it. I mean, you look at somebody like Freddie Prinze Jr., who, when he was on the writing team, he was very adamant about being a part of it. They must have given him a guideline why he could have. She's a comedian. You would think she would have also some other form of guideline if you're going to be a public figure that's now part of our writing team. I mean, they didn't cue her on anything, so she just thought, well, I guess I could just say this. I mean, yeah, she must have thought later on, or if she was being funny about it when she said, oh, I don't know if they're going to like that I said this. But, I mean, it's also their fault for not being like, hey, by the way, maybe, we don't talk about stuff like this publicly, or, don't put yourself out there. We try to keep all this behind-the-scenes door stuff. Was she cued in on any of that? I mean, they clearly were just like, yeah, all right, you're hired, cool, bye.
I wonder if she was technically allowed by her contract to do the podcast. Because, you said yourself, this was, 2-3 weeks ago?
Exactly, yeah.
So I wonder if they just
didn't know. And it was, immediately, this, she would have done this podcast, maybe a day or two after officially being hired.
Yeah.
And so she just does the podcast. I mean, at that point, I also think WWE needs to start being a bit more, savvy of the fact that these are things that exist. If you don't want podcasts need to be a part of a policy, then where it's yeah, you can't go on this unless we approve of it. Because then at that point, yeah, she can do whatever she wants. It's free speech.
Because I read too that it wasn't just the podcast that led to her losing her job. There are apparently some of the wrestlers who weren't a big fan of her, or thought she was not respectful of the business, which, I mean, she's not a fan. I mean,
she had no idea what this was. I mean, that's another point here, is that, we're bringing in people that don't know a damn thing, so they're gonna, make their first impression on what they automatically see in that 1 week, and then, obviously, the people that are there, that have been there forever, respect this. It's this is, their livelihood. They're gonna feel disrespected. It'd be in the same case if, one of them decided to just pop into the comedy scene. Look at Dolph Ziggler. He's an insult to stand-up comics. So it's like, it's the same thing,
Now, do you guys, I mean, I guess this is an interesting point, but do you think that they should require that all writers have, like, some kind of wrestling knowledge, or do you think there are instances where they could bring a writer on who could learn on the job?
Well, it comes to the fact that, like, they very much, like, I think, I was listening to Saul Monster's opinion on this, is like, Vince hates for the fact that that he's so associated with pro wrestling that he's gone above and beyond to distance the WWE from pro wrestling as possible, except for the pro wrestling aspect of it. So it's like he hires these people, like these comedy writers and these TV writers, because he wants this to be more of a TV show. So in that case, I can't fault him because the man clearly has a vision of what he wants the show to be. The problem, the fact of the matter is that you've got, he's such a weird man that, like, anything and everything you say can be, like, you can be, punished on, and punished very swiftly. He believes he's above criticism, and because of that, it's like he leaves himself in these situations where it's like, okay, now you're in a bigger ditch than you tried to dig yourself out of, but you've only made it bigger. So it's like, I don't know, like, what do you want? Like, what is the goal here? You know what I mean?
He's got to figure. This is why we got to figure it out, and I think that's why I think Nick Khan is in that position of saying, "Okay, we're going to sell this, and we're going to sell it to somebody who's going to actually have a vision at this point." Because Vince obviously does not want it to be wrestling anymore. He wants it to be entertainment, but he can't leave the wrestling part behind because that's the backbone that makes you have the money. You drop that, you're going to lose. I mean, they're already losing people as it is. You're just going to lose even more. So she goes out there and is pretty much like, yeah, I'm going to be writing for this company and I don't know anything about it because they don't need me for that because they're clearly not looking for wrestling writers or people who have any background with knowing anything about wrestling. But then we got to fire her because she makes a mockery of our business. What kind of ass backward shit is that?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it doesn't make any sense business-wise, but that's like fucking Vince's entire run in a nutshell. So,
but that's the release roundup, round 4.
Please don't.
Round 4.
Please don't.
Round 4 in like a month and a half.
Probably.
I believe in total at this point we've lost over 40 people.
Again, somebody pointed out on Twitter, like, they released an entire photo. You can make a legitimate wrestling company out of every single person they've released up until this point. It's ridiculous.
But that's that. Cool. Is there any other WWE talk you want to mention? Because I don't.
Not really. That was pretty much.
Well, what else we got in the news? What else we got?
I guess really quick. Diamond Mine, of course, made their debut on NXT. The new faction being led by Malcolm Bivens, aka Stokely Hathaway. On the front lines, it is Roderick Strong, Tyler Rust, and Hideki Suzuki from Big Japan Pro Wrestling fame. I don't know a lot.
I ask you this question. I don't know him very well. Are we looking for something cool here?
So Hideki's whole thing was that Big Japan is very much known for their deathmatch wrestling.
Yes, I do know that.
He is quite the opposite of what Big Japan stands for. He's very much very technical, very mat-based, very, that style of wrestling. So he's very much their technical guy of the group. I guess Roderick's going to be like their main face. That's going to be his role. He's going to be like what Adam was to the Undisputed Era. That's Roderick's role now. And Tyler Rust, I think, is going to be that young dude in which they build up, which they can look to make a big star out of coming out of this group. So I think those are the roles that they're playing as of right now. Hopefully, this thing, Malcolm Bivens, will actually last, because I'm so sick and tired of him just coming in every once in a while and then just ditching whatever, and then he's gone for the next 6 months. I'm hoping that this lasts, because I really like Malcolm.
This is clearly Catch Point. That's what a lot of people have pointed out. Evolve's Catch Point, which is cool. There was clearly 2 other people that were supposed to be involved in this, a woman and another man, so who knows if we're going to see people take their places. I mean, we're still very early in this. I think this one will last. They've built this up a lot, and I think having Roddy in there is a big component. I think he's going to be winning that Cruiserweight title a lot sooner than you think.
We got a few people announced for, let me get the Money in the Bank match card up real quick.
Money in the Bank. That song from SRF 2007.
We got a few people announced for the Money in the Bank ladder matches. For the men's side, Ricochet, John Morrison, Matt Riddle, Big E, and there's going to be a last chance match between AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, or Randy Orton to see who gets in. Kevin Owens also confirmed, Sammy Owens, and apparently 2 more to be decided.
No. Kevin Owens and Sammy are fighting in a last man standing match.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
And the winner is going to take that spot, because and then 2 other spots from SmackDown. And then on the women's side, we know all of Raw. We got Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Naomi, some superhero.
Nikki Cross.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I don't want to talk about it. And then on the SmackDown side, Carmella and maybe Liv Morgan.
Did she not?
So it was very confusing. Apparently she comes out. Okay, so Carmella gets announced because Sonya's like, Carmella. But then Liv's like, I'm going to fight you. And if I win, I'm going to take your spot, or I'm going to be in the match. And then so she won, and then Twitter was like, she's in the match. But then Twitter deleted it. But then also on commentary, they never mentioned she was in it. So nobody knows. This is what happens when the SmackDown women's roster is 6 people.
So, yeah.
There's that, but I think also...
We got matches also confirmed.
We have a bunch of rematches.
Yeah, we do, baby. We got...
Yeah.
Roman Reigns taking on Edge, as I brought up earlier, for the WWE Universal Championship.
Because I guess, whatever.
Well, they got
it. Should be good at least.
It should be good, but it's okay, so the whole setup on SmackDown was, hey, we beat everybody. Everybody sucks. Okay, here comes Edge.
Here's someone I beat.
Here's someone I beat. Edge comes...
I'll say this much. Roman Reigns is one of the few things about WWE that usually is consistently good, so I'm sure he'll make it work.
Well, it's consistently good when there's people that he hasn't destroyed. Oh, wait, it's everyone.
Aww.
Yeah, well, don't worry. We're going to get...
we're going to get John Cena, and I'm very excited about that. So, there's that. And then we got Drew... No, we got Kofi and Bobby. That should be good.
Yeah, I don't think that's... Has that... Yeah, that has happened, actually. That happened on a Raw episode, and Kofi beat him.
But, I know who's going to win.
Yeah.
And then, yay, Rhea and Charlotte. Again.
No stipulation.
No stipulation. Just a match.
It's another heel versus heel. What is with WWE and AEW doing heel versus heel feuds for their title?
I don't know. Why is it specifically the women?
The women.
Yeah.
Mainly the women, yes.
I don't understand.
Sure. They've ruined Rhea. Again, I never was a big fan anyway, but God, they've made me not a bigger fan lately, and Charlotte's limping
Charlotte.
to the bank.
Woo!
Think Charlotte takes the belt here?
Sure, why not just end my misery?
I don't think this title
Or
is going
give it to the superhero.
Nikki.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. Again, wrestling Twitter marks you dumbasses. Just because a wrestler comes up with an idea still doesn't make it good. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
Yeah, I hate it too.
What happened to the white chocolate cheesecake?
Well, I think that's about it for the Money in the Bank match card for right now.
It was the greatest in the galaxy.
That's about. I think that's it for WWE News. Just quick things that I saw. Just make a quick recommendation. I would recommend anybody who wants to go check out last week's Noah show, which featured a cage match between one Katsuhiko Nakajima and Masa Kitayama, where the loser had to shave their head. Fucking-tastic match, brutal match, beat the shit out of each other, loved it. Also want to give a shout out to the new Triple Crown winner in All Japan Pro Wrestling, Jake Lee, after beating Kento Miyahara and someone else. I don't remember who. It was like a triple threat match because Suwama had to relinquish his title. But yeah, good year for Jake Lee. Very happy for him. And
I think Shawn had something to say about that.
Just gonna say, I don't really keep up with present day All Japan, but I've seen a little bit of Jake Lee, and I'm glad that he's champion now and he's getting a shot. I think he's awesome. So
yeah, absolutely. Also, Kino and the Great Muta apparently had a match I have not seen, but I have seen GIFs of the spot.
I saw of this flaming kick pad
to
Muta's face. Why is Muta taking flaming kick pads to the face?
It's so good. I'm probably going to check that out later, but yeah, that's as far as my recommendations go. Go check all those out.
I have a recommendation. If a part of this week's ICW No Holds Barred Weekender, I would go recommend checking out their Unlucky 13 No Holds Barred 13 show. A very good death match between Dale Patricks and Neil Diamond Cutter. Homicide and Akira had a very good match as well. And a main event between John Wayne Murdoch and Sadika, a Mexican luchador deathmatch wrestler. She's from Mexico. It was very fun. Good match. Great crowd. Also, next week, I'll be able to review the show because we weren't able to do the GCW one. I'll be at VXS and JCW this weekend. So I'll have my reviews. I get to see Jordan Oliver take on Davey Richards.
Oh my!
That should be fun.
God, I can't wait to not listen to that.
Well, I'm totally going to talk about it. Also, Shane Mercer and Brian Cage are going to go at it. And if you've never seen Shane Mercer, go watch him and Brian Cage because it's going to be amazing.
All right.
Now, that's all I got for recommendations. So that means it's time for Shawn.
Oh, yes.
So what do you want to talk about?
So it's let me introduce this. We give.
Oh, we have an introduction now.
Okay. We normally give guests the opportunity to talk about whatever they want to talk about on this show. Anything wrestling related wise, whether that be past, present, future stuff, whatever it is, they can bring it towards the table and we will discuss it. So, Shawn, is there anything special you would like us to talk about here on this episode of the Four Post Massacre Podcast?
Yes. It took me a while, but I figured it out. It was a big anniversary this week. A big 10-year anniversary of one Pipebomb. And now I don't want to go into we all know what it is.
Yeah.
But there was kind of a debate, it being the 10 years of the Pipebomb is with its legacy. How did the wrestling business really change with the Pipebomb, or did it get worse in spite of the Pipebomb? It's now 10 years later. CM Punk's gone. What is its legacy?
I think it's very clear what its legacy is. Look at wrestling right now. Look at All Elite Wrestling as it is. Look at the indie scene. Look at like how everything's presented nowadays. None of that. I think we very slowly get to that unless Punk's pipe bomb didn't happen. But because of Punk's pipe bomb, look where we've got more guys. We've got Daniel Bryan in the main event scene. Like, we've gotten all these people because it's like for a while now, we've all said that even before Punk's promo, like, this company is like in a rut. Like, they don't listen to anything like in what we have to say. It feels like we're being constantly ignored. It feels like none of our opinions matter. It just feels like we don't have a voice or a say in this. And then here comes Mr. Phil fucking Brooks to finally put all of that into words on national TV with a live microphone. It was like, for as long as he was up there, he was speaking for a majority of the fan base who were watching the show. Like, it felt good to felt like we weren't alone in thinking the way we were feeling, the way we were feeling. Like, no, this fucking company does suck. There are a lot of problems with this company. And, you guys should hear about it instead of just ignoring it. Which was basically what that pipe bomb did. And now we've got, indie guys out the wazoo because of it. NXT, Cole, Steam, Generico, every single one of these ROH guys now coming into professional wrestling, now being top stars, now being big names. Whereas it's like, years ago, that would have never happened. But now it is, because they're finally taking notice of what, we want. And, say what you will about pro wrestling being in the state it is right now and not being as popular as it is right now. And that's very obvious. But it didn't fix everything, but it felt good to know that our questions were being heard and being answered by at least this one guy who had a pretty big saying in the company going forward.
So, I want to throw a little bit of I'm going to be a dick right now. Okay? See, well, for one, I don't like Phil Brooks. CM Punk I like. I don't like Phil Brooks.
Fair.
But this promo is, yes, it's synonymous. It's a legacy promo. People talk about it. People try to replicate it ever since then. And it was a huge, important statement for the professional wrestling scene at the time. I mean, this was the promo that brought viewership pretty much back into WWE. People thought this was the big, like, Austin 316 type promo. I thoroughly remember the Austin promo, Austin tweet that he made talking about his TV melting after the pipe bomb promo that CM Punk cut. It obviously had a huge impact, especially for the business. WWE was starting to bring in more money, which also then brought more, eyes to other companies, the little independent feds like ROH and PWG and all these other companies where people were going to get noticed. But people always credit CM Punk, right? But this wasn't a shoot promo. This was a work shoot promo.
Right.
So don't we all have to thank Vince McMahon for this promo?
No!
Okay, Aleister Black.
All I'm saying is, I feel like this promo gets so much praise and credit, we don't look at where it really came from. It was all a plan. We were all worked. And it's, yes, it's a great promo, but it's not this giant revolutionary promo. Promos like this have been done for years.
Okay.
It came around at a great time that was necessary and needed. But I don't think this is one of the best promos of all time. I don't think it's top 10 even. You look back at other people who have had even better promos than this, it's a massive distance. I think it's a bit overrated in places. It's been the best thing we've had in a long time. But even recently, I think there's been even better promos.
Okay.
And I think the Punk promo not the pipe bomb, but the one where he's in the Nexus, that he's in the middle of the ring.
Right.
I think that's a better promo.
Yeah. I think this is nice because we're all going to have a different take on it. So I agree with you in that it's like CM Punk himself has had better promos. Like I think the one he did with The Rock, I think that one's better. And you can point different wrestlers and say that's better. But this promo I think is bigger than those other promos. I think that's why it's so revered. But I do agree it did change things in that, like, it made CM Punk a superstar. He was a main event guy, but he took it to the next level following this promo. It certainly changed a lot for him. But I think there's actually more bad that has come, not because of the promo necessarily, but that has come following. Like, I mean, CM Punk, he was out of the wrestling business like 3 years later because all the things that he spoke about and fought for, he couldn't fight for anymore. It was too much. He was gone. And I listened to the promo on the anniversary. I was like, oh, it's been a while. Let me listen to it again. And if someone walked out on Raw and said that almost that same exact thing, it would be just as appropriate today. It's 10 years, and you have, Vince is like, oh, Vince surrounds himself with yes men. That seems to be the case. Vince doesn't listen to anyone. Vince has his guys. He has the guys who kiss his ass, blah, 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 all that jazz, and the best wrestlers aren't being recognized. And I think the promo was a great promo, a historical promo, and it's done great for CM Punk and maybe a couple wrestlers since. But it has opened up the WWE versus the fans feud. And it has proven that no matter how many of these promos happen, WWE will never listen. And I think it kind of hurts the significance of the promo. That's not on Punk. That's totally on the company. I mean, Punk did everything he can, and he said, "See ya." So,
I think that if I was gonna if this were a discussion on where that promo ranks as best promos in the world, I could go on tangent on why I believe it's one of the best because of all the things that is the longevity of it, the just quotability of it all, and delivery of it all. I could go on forever about it, but just it's not just if we're talking about WWE, sure, that thing failed. That promo failed because it's what really changed. But I think
nothing.
In terms of WWE, yes. But you look at wrestling now.
I think it's a promo that people look back on as their catalyst for an excuse.
Yeah.
It's it's time. The small guys got to get pushed. Oh, mention the Punk promo. Oh, these guys got released. Mention, will Vince McMahon be better off if he was dead? It's not the meaning and the meaning behind it, just like CM Punk's legacy at this point, is stale and useless and repetitive. And it does tarnish what was a great promo in its time to, it's that promo again. Oh, it's the CM Punk chant again. Oh, it's the ice cream bar thing again. It's the I'm yelling at Vince thing again. It's he's become such a martyr for these
yes,
wrestling fans, and it's all stupid because they're all you're falling for everything. This, none of this is he's not. This isn't he went out there and just pulled his shots. This was all planned. He's working you.
Well,
it's this stupid idea of like, oh, we have to follow this like this beautiful god of ours, this CM Punk. It's like he's just doing what he was told. It's just a job. You're being played. I mean, good for you. I mean, WWE, you made your money off of it because you had so many people fall in. But like seeing it constantly over and over again, it loses its luster.
In fairness, though, you're right that he was doing his job and he was told to go cut a promo, but. I mean, it wasn't like Vince sat there and said, "Hey, pal, why don't you go bring up it when I die?" You know, he was he spoke from the heart and then put his character in it, and it's true because I mean, it was ultimately what led to him essentially retiring from the business. So let me put it this way then: do you think this promo did more for the wrestling business or for CM Punk?
I think it did more for the wrestling business.
For the wrestling business in its time, its longevity, CM Punk.
Yeah, I think it did more for Punk, which is weird because he only was there for like another 3 more years. But I think it's what took him. It made him I think before that promo, people were like, "Oh yeah, Punk was really good," but like they probably wouldn't rank him amongst like the top tier names. Not off of talent, just like their superstar level. That took him to like, okay, you're at that John Cena level or maybe a little below. So,
I think that promo and Punk himself, if by accident, sure, but I think he inspired a lot more indie wrestlers to take chances on themselves. Chances on themselves that they probably wouldn't have, beforehand. Like, I think that the reason we have guys like Ospreay or Omega or, even the Bucks taking chances on themselves now, like guys who are working like WWE dates and still making tons of money, I think is because of the backlash of that promo. I think because, like, you can say, Adam, you can say, yeah, that was a job in which he was, like, that was a scripted promo and, you know what, fair enough. I don't think the message, I don't think, like, the message was untrue, though. Because a lot of what he said was fact. And
no, you're right. Everything he said was fact. But it's the same stuff people are still saying today because they've never acted upon it. And they never were going to.
That's
the part, the Daniel Bryan stuff had to be literally forced upon them.
Yeah, CM Punk had to leave the business for them. This was not
a promo that was intended to be the big game changer. Hey, we're going to automatically change our entire info structure and go in a completely different direction. No, this was just a promo that people obviously latched upon. It turned out to bite them in the ass eventually when the Bryan stuff came around, because that's what they were able to, use against them.
Yeah, but that should speak about the longevity, because couldn't you say the exact same thing?
Well, but honestly, that's where it ends. It ends at the Daniel Bryan stuff. Everything since then has just been man yelling at cloud. It's like, I said, we use this promo to death.
Kofi?
That's a different situation.
Is it? You think for a fact that Kofi was just stated, like, they had a clear-cut plan to put Kofi in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania.
Ali got hurt, and they realized they had something. But I don't think Kofi was... I mean, also, Kofi's story was completely different, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I don't think it was a Daniel Bryan situation where, there was backlash originally going into Bryan's booking. Kofi was already, beloved, and he was in a position that was good. Bryan was getting screwed and screwed and screwed. Kofi getting screwed was just part of the storyline. Bryan was never getting the chance. He was literally forced into it. Kofi was in a position where somebody was hurt, he had a really good performance, and something caught on. And they caught on pretty quickly. that was the story there. But the
If
Bryan stuff
by-
was clearly an outside perspective looking in, saying, no, this is what we need and what we want, and we're not going to go against it. WWE realized, hey, we have something here, let's go for it.
If by pretty quickly you mean a whole decade had to go by before they actually pulled that trigger, then yes, I can see where you're going.
Well, again, I love Kofi, but honestly, even to now, I don't think he would have ever really done it. I think Big E has a bigger shot than Kofi if he never won it. It's just, that's how I see Big E.
But what Kofi, the fuck is Big E doing
not everybody, listen, not everybody can be world champion.
I think one thing it did, I just was thinking about this now with you guys talking about it, is, like, Daniel Bryan was the thing where fans were like, we're going to take over the show. I think the CM Punk Pipebomb promo and that, like, run of Punk, I think it kind of gave fans, like, hey, if we really want something, we'll just make a whole bunch of noise and that led to, like, Bryan, Becky Lynch, Kofi Kingston, so on and so forth. But it also taught the company, hey, look, if they want something, we will wait until they lose their shit, give them that, and then give them nothing else. Like, they gave the belt to Kofi Kingston, but what did Kofi Kingston really do with the title? Well, they gave the belt to Daniel Bryan after WrestleMania, and he got, like, embarrassed by Kane, and so yeah, and then they gave the belt to Becky Lynch, and then she was feuding with Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin. It's tough. It
is tough.
I think it's interesting.
Very tough.
That's why it's very interesting, because I think it's cool because we've had kind of different perspectives on this, because that's what I saw on Twitter on the anniversary. A lot of different takes on the Pipebomb. It was 10 years ago. Like, I haven't seen this kind of debate on that promo beforehand, so it's kind of interesting. Whether any of us love it or hate it or whatever, for different reasons, it clearly has left a mark in some way.
I will say this, though. One thing I think a lot of people can agree with is that John Laurinaitis is indeed still a douchebag.
Yes.
Yes, fire him again, please.
Please. Fuck it.
This is the man. I will hold a vendetta against this man. Speaking of CM Punk, this is the same man who told AJ Lee that she was not sexy enough to make it in wrestling. So, but let's rehire him. The same man who hired the wrong one-legged wrestler. The same man who hired Tatanka instead of Masato Tanaka because he got their last names wrong.
Yeah.
You know how to pick them.
Fuck you, Laurinaitis. All right.
Sean, I think that was an amazing little debate right there.
And with that brings us to our final segment of the show. Last time we did one of these, we ranked the top NXT champions of all time. And we came up with our Mount Rushmore of NXT champions, which I believed was Bo Dallas,
yes,
Neville, Finn Balor. Who was the last person? I think it was Kevin Owens. So now, as I share my screen here on Discord, you guys can look at it if you want to. We're doing another tier list of, this time, TNA World Champions.
Oh, yeah.
Not listed here are Rich Swann and Kenny Omega, so we will come to them there at the very last.
This was my personal pick. I love TNA. It is my favorite company of all time. It's still going strong. It's the greatest thing ever. Of course, my father, Vince Russo, the best booker of all time.
Okay.
Alright. Sure.
Listen, I keep getting fucked over in these. I got my Bo Dallas. I was happy I got that. I was, in our first tier list, robbed of having Vince Russo and David Arquette in the God tier list of WCW World Champions. But look, I'm 1 for 1 right now, so let's...
Look, all you have to do is get the majority vote, and then you're fine.
Yeah, all I have to do is Bo leave. I know I'm looking at one person. I know this is gonna be a spicy one for me.
Alright, so none of these are in order, so I guess I'll just go in order of...
Are we gonna go just in what we see?
I guess so.
Alright. Well, I see one already that's going... You're an awful person. I just noticed what... God, come on!
So, our tiers are, we got God tier, we got great, we got okay, we got boring, and then we've got Victory Road 2011.
You're fucked up.
That's true. But first person I see on this list, none other than the Callahan Death Machine, Sami Callihan.
Sami goes in great.
I would say so too.
I mean, I would say okay, but you know what? I lose, so it's all good.
Well, do you have a reason for it, actually, since you're the minority?
Yeah, no, I liked Sami back then. I mean, he's alright now, but, I wasn't particularly over the moon for it. I felt like they waited too long to put the belt on him, too, so... I thought it was okay, though, but if you guys think it's great, I get it. Sami was really on killing it back then, so.
He's still one of the only really big main eventers they have.
Hey, he could be champion again.
I'm predicting it. Alright, well, Zaya, I guess he's
going in the great section, baby. Callahan Death Machine. Alright, I can't... His face is cut off, but I believe that's
Bobby Roode.
Yeah, that is Bobby Roode.
Alright, so Bobby Roode. I mean, I'm also... I know I might be minority here, but I'm also teetering towards great. I know... I feel like you guys are going to go God, maybe?
No, I think great is... I think good for him.
I'd say great. I am a big fan of the Bobby Roode run.
I think that whole run he had was where he peaked as a wrestler. So
yeah.
Austin Aries.
Now remember, this is not on him as a person or him
I know.
as a champion.
I know.
Now, if it's him as a champion, if we're going off of his first reign, I would put his first reign in great, but his second reign is not that great, so I'd have to go okay to balance it out.
He had such a great title.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, there's a few people on here that we're gonna have to mention. Let's not talk about the personal side. I'm already.
No, we're doing this based on their championship reign, not.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
It's what they did on the TV show.
Please don't crucify me.
I'm not. All right.
So I don't know I don't know how you guys feel. I was really big on TNA champion Aries, but I would say either low, great, or okay.
I would go okay.
I'm looking at okay, mainly for that second reign. And how, it ended and everything.
Yeah,
right.
Uh-huh.
He did have that really, really good title match with Moose.
Yeah. But if it was mainly his first reign, he would have been top tier of great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was just on another level at that moment. So, I guess we're going okay, first okay?
Yeah. I think we're going.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, next person. He's
Chris Sabin
is going to be boring for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
I fucking
what
love.
What a waste!
I
love the guy, but
love Chris Sabin to death. But
not the guy that should have taken it off of Bully Ray. What a I think he only held it for maybe a month.
It should have been it should have been Shelley, but he was so riddled with injuries. It's like they couldn't really count on him.
They also made it blatantly obvious, this man shouldn't be the champion.
Yeah, and they made it clear even after he won the belt. This is very much This is a fluke victory. You only won because I made a mistake. That was the whole thing with him and Bully Ray, which would be true because Bully Ray would beat him the next month.
Yep.
So I guess
it seemed like such a. But one, it was too late. Obviously.
Are we going boring?
Yeah, we're going.
Oh, yeah,
boring.
he's going boring.
Alright.
Victory Road to that garbage, absolute piece of murderer.
Now
sexist,
remember, this is all in the ring, you know.
All right, okay, yeah, all in the ring. Yeah, so he cut a promo about WWE. He didn't show up for any title matches. Garbage.
Yeah,
Go, bye-bye.
He's trash.
Bye.
Like, not even speaking of as like a person, he was just not a good world champion at all.
No,
He did nothing
wasn't.
with that title.
I'd say boring.
I say Victory Road
Are you guys
2011.
going to go Victory Road?
I'm putting
Absolutely.
him. I'd say Victory Road.
Garbage. I say he
don't.
goes in his own category.
I have to put him in Victory Road 2011.
Kill me.
Oh, is that the greatest NWA World Champion of all
Fuck
time?
off, Magnus! Magnus can go to Victory Road.
Days.
Victory Road.
Magnus is.
Victory
Oh,
Road.
I was gonna put him in boring.
Victory Road.
I would say boring. It's weird. Magnus, before he won the title, had a great year. Then he won the title and was terrible.
It was the worst.
Dixieland match. The Dixieland match.
Fuck
I
you.
mean, I think it's a great match, but not for your world title.
I say boring.
I will put him in boring, but I will personally believe he is one of the worst world champions ever.
Oh man, here comes a favorite of mine.
God, I have to say God.
I say God tier.
Bully Ray was just fantastic.
This man saved a dying stable.
He was like the one good thing out of that group.
He was the one good thing out of an entire year of TNA.
Yeah.
He reinvigorated his whole career.
Oh yeah, he went from literally being a tag team guy to a bona fide singles. And you wouldn't have thought that from the Dudley.
No. Alright, so God?
Yeah, he's got to be our first God tier.
Alright.
Got to be Bully Ray.
Yeah, sure. Alright.
Eli Drake. I think, this is tough for me.
Did he ever? How long did Eli Drake hold the title? It couldn't have been that long, right?
I love Eli, but I think okay is as far as I can go.
I don't remember anything about his title reign other than
I remember him losing it in Austin Aries' street clothes.
Yeah.
I remember him debuting the title and then having to.
He had the sticker, didn't he?
Had to put the sticker over the GFW logo. Also, I believe Chris Masters was his sidekick, and then he
That's
was
right.
gone for 2 weeks. He got fired. I can't remember anything he did, but I just love Eli so much.
I like him too. I want to put him in okay just because I like him, but I really don't remember anything he did.
I can't put him in boring because I still remember him.
I remember him. I don't remember what did he do as world champion though. That's the question that we need to ask here.
But it's so. I mean, so are you going? I'm going.
Going boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Damn.
All
right. It's a shame.
I would say top of boring.
So just right there.
He's definitely above Sabin and Magnus.
Magnus, that's true.
All right. Well.
Ooh, interesting one.
Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy's TNA career, God tier. His title reign, okay.
I guess.
Okay,
so.
yeah. That was early Big Money Matt.
He was first starting to dip his feet into them creative waters, and they needed a big name to have that belt at the moment.
So okay.
I gotta say okay, yeah.
All right.
Eric Young.
Let me just say this. They did as good of a job as they could have with him as world champion. They gave him great wins. They gave him some good moments. Even his victory was very emotional, and it was well deserved over the fucking time he spent with that company. With all that said,
I have a soft spot for it.
I have to put him in okay.
Yeah,
he's another okay for me too. Especially because of all those criticisms coming after. I know people say it's a Daniel Bryan thing, and while there were similarities, there were still differences. I think it did hurt them a little bit that it did come so quickly, right? After the Daniel Bryan success was getting like on its way out, and I mean that's always been a TNA thing where they try to pick up steam of something that is like already on its way dying in somewhere else. And yeah, EY, for everything he's done, I mean I love Eric Young. I mean this man has been able to reinvent his career as many times, but if we're counting that one reign, we got to count the second reign.
Yep. That's
and
why
I think his second reign was pretty good.
It was actually pretty good. It was pretty good.
So, honestly, I'm going to put him at the tail end of great.
I can't put him at great, though.
I can't... See, I don't know. I didn't care for his second title reign. I just was like, ew. But I love his first reign, as brief as it was. I say okay.
I say okay, too. But we can put him at the very top of okay for you, Adam.
Yeah, see? There you go. You won.
All right.
EC3.
Love EC3. That
I
EC3,
say,
not current EC3.
I say he's great.
I say he's great, too.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have reached God tier, but I think, like, maybe, like...
It's not his fault that he didn't have much to work with.
He did not. He didn't. But he did work with the best he could, which I think deserves praise. Eddie Edwards! If it were me, yeah, great. Because I love Eddie.
I love Eddie, too. I know people are kind of conflicted on him kind of randomly beating Lashley. I was cool with it, because I actually think it made sense. But I don't like crackhead Eddie Edwards.
Thank you! Oh my god, thank you so much! I thought I was literally the only person.
I remember because he won the title last year, which I thought, oh, cool. And then he lost it right away, and I'm like, why are you still dressed like that? That like 2 years ago?
Thank you, it doesn't make any sense! Why is he still crazy?
I don't get it. I don't... Maybe okay? I don't know, like... Then he had...
I'm leaning towards okay.
And we can put him at okay. That's fair. Because
I think Eddie is a great wrestler. He's just somebody I don't think TNA has ever gotten right.
No. I think he could be, if like they did things right, I think he could be easily a great champion, but they haven't quite figured it out yet.
Well, this next guy, God tier.
God tier.
Yeah,
it's Kurt Angle, the savior of
Not
TNA.
even. Jesus Christ. Things this bad. Perk Angle.
Kurt Angle at perkiest.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, talk about a career-altering, choice. I mean, people say his TNA run is better than his WWE run.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree.
Every title reign he had, something it mattered, except for the really bad one with the drugs, but that wasn't, that was something he couldn't control. But besides that, I mean, match after match after match that you could think of, matches with AJ Styles, matches with EC3, with Sting, with Joe, with Jared.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson. Even his later
Mr.
ones,
Anderson, Desmond,
Lashley and stuff like that were really good. So
this man, God tier. There's top God tier. Maybe if not the best TNA champion of all time.
He might just be.
All this run did was solidify Kurt Angle as one of the best wrestlers of all time. There's not even a fucking question.
Drew Galloway. Drew was somebody that Impact needed at the time of him being world champion.
He was.
I think he helped them a lot. And I remember some of his matches. But am I going great or okay?
I'm going okay.
I'm going okay, too.
Alright, I'll go okay.
Drew's TNA title run was one of the reasons I was concerned when he eventually won the WWE title. I was like, I wasn't sure, because Drew has a great build, and then he wins the title. Although, thankfully, his WWE title run was much better.
Yeah, it was a lot better, thank goodness.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
but because his TNA title run, it was a cool moment, and then he was champion, and then he wasn't. So, is that RVD?
No job, Rob.
Oh man,
where do you put Rob Van Dam?
I wish they put the belt on him when he was Dad Van Dam. Oh man,
Midlife Crisis, Rob?
Yes.
Oh hell yeah! They kicked off at Twitch.
What was it? The divorce vacation? What did he call it?
Fucking...
He had a name for it.
I don't remember. He just
the divorce revenge.
It
was like Twitch. The divorce revenge world tour. Yeah.
The divorce revenge world tour. But no job, Rob.
All this was better than his title run.
I can't say he was boring.
No.
But I can't go anything past okay.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh
no. All right. We knew this was coming.
Oh, here we go.
Tazza Blanchard.
I plead the fifth.
Look, here. I will say this.
Look, I think, listen, everything, because of circumstances, she had a few good matches before the situations happened. I don't think boring, so I gotta go okay.
I have to put her on the okay list, considering that not only was she the first woman to hold the world title, but she was also the first like, two women fighting for a world championship belt on a platform like Impact Wrestling. It's never been done before. So you gotta give them props for that, at least. So
they were, listen, if things would have gone better, I do think you could have been looking at a great champion. They knew what they had. They were doing very well with what they were doing with it. Life happens, and shit occurs, and listen, sometimes people have said Rob Van Dam could have had a great run as WWE champion, and then he smoked some weed. Listen, life comes, and shit, eventually, we're not going to see what would have happened, but because of what it did for them and for the industry, you gotta go okay. Personal matters aside,
because I think the build to her win the title, I think Impact did a great job with.
It was very well done.
And then she won the title. The thing that's, obviously, I'm not holding it against her. Obviously, there was this stigma around her, which made things awkward. And she was absent for at least a month or two of her title run because of COVID. And then she got stripped of the title under a controversial situation.
I don't want to make this a whole segment here, but she was in Mexico. She was in the middle of her engagement. She was worried that if she had come over to the U.S., that she would be retained and not be able to go back to Mexico. I understood the situation.
I'm not put into talk shit on her or anything. I just mean that just as her as the champion, there was a portion of her title run where she just wasn't on TV. And that's why, if you guys say, okay, I get it. I only say boring because it's not really, actually it's kind of her fault. But some of it isn't her fault, where she didn't get to do what she could have done. But if you guys think, okay, I'm okay with that.
I only put her in the okay section because of her title win and because she did something significant with at least one of her defenses.
True.
Going with the same, and I'm putting biasness aside.
So, okay?
That's fair.
AJ Styles!
God tier. It's AJ. He's the face of the company. His title win, great moment.
Yeah.
Him and Sting. When he won it from Angle the second time, great moment as well. He's AJ Styles. He's Mr. TNA. Putting him anything below God tier for me is a sin.
I have to go great.
Oh.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm glad you said it. I could totally understand the reasoning for God tier. I say great because I think AJ has a lot of great world title wins.
Yes.
But the reigns, I don't think are as great as the wins. And that's why I think he's maybe top great, you know? Like, that's what I say.
I have to go with
You guys are going great. I mean, obviously I lose the majority.
I have to go top great. I can't.
But he has to be top grade. He's AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Poor McFoley.
Victory Road 2011, baby!
What were they thinking?
Don't you remember that classic match with Rocky Balboa?
Fuck!
He wrestled a cardboard guy.
God tears.
No!
What were they thinking?
That's a Victory Road, yeah.
Why was this a decision?
I guess Mick Foley was making too much money. So.
My God. I mean, he had one good match with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm still putting that he should never...
No, he's still out. No, he's absolutely... He should have never been. Never been.
No.
And sadly, I gotta put Storm in the Victory Road as well.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault.
Look,
it's their fault.
He wasn't given a chance.
Look, everything I said about Eric Young, about how he spent all that time and all that effort and they did right by him, and they finally rewarded him with that shot and that title reign, is the exact opposite you could say for fucking James Storm.
No, yeah. James Storm was given the title because they didn't want to, because Hogan didn't fucking pull the trigger on Bobby Roode winning at Bound for Glory. So they were like, well, we can't have him beat Angle, so we'll have Storm beat Angle, only to have Bobby beat Storm a week later.
What sucks is he definitely was supposed to eventually beat Bobby Roode for the title, but then Austin Aries caught fire, and they just said, we'll figure it out some other time, and never did.
James Storm is one of those, like, Roddy Piper situations, or, like, those Mr. Perfects and Jake Roberts, like, backbones of TNA, always, like, God tier career, in my opinion, but, like, never got the rightful world title reign that he deserved for all that he did. And it's not like it wouldn't have been over, it's James Storm.
Yeah.
Jomo.
Boring.
Johnny Impact.
Johnny Impact.
Fuck Johnny Nitro.
What? Oh,
not a big
no.
Johnny a million last names guy.
I have only ever liked him in Lucha Underground, and that's about it.
Him in Lucha Underground, so good.
I miss that company more and more every day.
Johnny Mundo, great shit. But this isn't a Lucha Underground tier list, so...
I thought his Impact stuff was okay.
I thought so too.
But I can't remember a lot besides
Aries. Name anything besides Aries and the stupid shit they did with him in Cage.
Yeah.
Not much, no.
I'll concede. I'll go with boring.
I'd go boring, yeah, even though he's very entertaining.
He is. I'm a big fan of his.
This one breaks my fucking heart.
Samoa Joe is a boring world. What happened here? What happened here?
Waiting to pull the fucking trigger, which seems to be the fucking an impact.
That doesn't seem to be an impact. That seems to be Joe's career.
Yeah!
Yep.
Is waiting to pull the trigger.
Unless your name was fucking Ring of fucking Honor, it seems that waiting on Joe was the thing to do in every single fucking company he went to.
I mean, Joe kind of suffered from the same situation that Monty Brown fell into, where it was just a matter of circumstance. Here comes Kurt Angle, and sorry, Joe, it's just not going to happen. And after that world title run, Joe never really recovered in my eyes at TNA.
He didn't.
Yeah. So boring?
You have to.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, it's borderline Victory Road. But because it's Joe,
I could never put fucking Joe in Victory Road.
No.
Never.
This next guy, I might put in Victory Road.
Really?
I did not like Brian Cage's world title.
I didn't either.
I think wasn't he like always injured?
He was always injured. He had a horrible feud with Michael Elgin.
He did.
Remember when Michael Elgin was in Impact? I don't either.
So boring.
He had a great match with Tessa. Was that when Tessa was champion? Or no, Tessa challenged him, right? And there was a cage match?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a good match. But and then he had the John Morrison stuff, I think, too. He was always hurt.
The thing that's tough with Brian Cage, because like, I think Cage is a great heel, but I think he's an incredibly boring babyface. And he was a babyface world champion for Impact, and to me, he was boring.
Yeah, I'd go boring. I didn't hate him as world champion. He looked the part, that's for sure.
He looked the part, but like nothing. I don't feel like anything came of it.
Alright, so boring.
Who the hell? Oh, that's
Pent.
Okay. No, the person next to him. Like, what is that?
Yeah, that's Sting. What? Penta.
Pentagon. Kind of also
this.
Kind of yeah, Victory Road.
Yeah,
had it for like what? Maybe 2-3 weeks.
Didn't he lose it at the same taping?
Listen. It's not Pentagon's fault. It was. Let's go back to another man that's in Victory Road, right there at the top of that list. Mr. Alberto Del Rio. I mean, Penta only won the belt because they had to crown a champion, and they decided, all right, let's just go with Penta. He's popular right now, coming off of Lucha Underground, and then we'll figure it out from there. And I mean, they figured it out extremely quickly, but I think Pentagon got the rub. Sadly,
it's such a shame. I mean, Adam, you know this. Like, I love Pentagon.
Absolutely.
He's on my like all-time list, and I was so happy that they gave him the belt like right off the bat, but it was clearly just done because of the Alberto situation, and then they moved on, and that was it. It's a shame.
Yeah, sorry, Penta. Love you though. 70 Adam. Sting.
Can I just? I'm just gonna throw it out there because I'm gonna make this easier on myself. The next three people, I'm already voting God tier for all three of them.
Really?
Not the last one.
All right. For Sting, yes, absolutely.
Sting's God tier.
God tier. You have to put him right.
This man, again, just like Kurt Angle and just like Bully Ray, reinvented his career.
Yep.
TNA became a second life, a second home for Sting.
Sting in TNA is just so good. I guess it's because it's been a while ago, and you know everyone's associating with WCW for obvious reasons. But Sting was so important to TNA's success, and him as the world champion, I just remember him always being a good champion. Obviously, you know the whole Victory Road thing, that wasn't his fault, but otherwise, I mean, Sting was great.
The Destroyer.
God tier for me.
Fucking! Oh my God! He might be my favorite.
You want to go back to again? Same thing. Reinventing.
Just absolutely nothing like the fucking Bobby Lashley we saw back in WWE in like 2007.
I mean, we're finally getting it now.
You know what's crazy? I went to the Impact Wrestling taping where he won his first TNA title. Because it was after Eric Young had the cage match and MVP got hurt, and they did the match on Impact, and Bobby Lashley won. And I remember at the time was like, because you know I knew Bobby Lashley from WWE, and I'm like, Bobby Lashley, I don't know about that. And then Lashley went on to have like multiple great world title reigns. They booked him so well. He wasn't a chicken shit heel. He did his shit, and it's why I wanted him to be the champion in WWE that he is now. So, Bobby Lashley, God tier.
Bobby Lashley.
Oh, man. I know, Adam, you put him in God tier.
Look,
I don't know if I can put him that high.
Victory Road aside, he helped that company. He was another backbone. He was another guy who reinvented himself for good or for worse.
He did.
He had multiple title reigns. The redemption title reign with the Aries match was a very good moment for TNA. I mean, everybody goes back to Victory Road 2011. I mean, yeah, that hurt Hardy more than him as a champion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also, you go back to, all the ramifications behind it. The fact that the company let him go out there in the position he was.
Fair.
Things could have been stopped.
Let's put that to the side, right?
Also, great. Also, I can think of plenty of really good matches he had. Kurt Angle, for one.
Yeah.
RVD.
He had some good Mr. Anderson matches.
He had a really good series with Aries when he did the Redemption return. I can think of stuff that Jeff did as champion that puts him in that tier for me.
So I really liked that run before how it ended. That was a great heel run for Jeff, and I liked his face runs as champion, but I liked them, but I wasn't in love with them. So that's why to me he isn't I could see great. But yeah, that's just where I'm at with it. I don't know.
Look.
You're the tiebreaker.
That's fucking.
If you want to go, if we're going great, I get it.
Let me just say this: Jeff Hardy, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
He's my favorite wrestler of all time. You know that.
He's fucking, and you know what? I'm
trying my best, and listen, I'm doing my best to be unbiased. I'm trying to go fact-wise here.
There is a lot of truth to what you're saying. However, you cannot just... Victory Road was the low point. It was the low point.
Yes, it absolutely
and
was.
You have to take that in consideration. Another thing take into consideration, fuck Immortal!
Well, again, that's
fuck Immortal! Yes, it was! It was a part of the fucking group! That whole shit was the reason why I fucking stopped watching the goddamn show in the first place!
To my recollection, Jeff, when he was in Immortal, was usually left alone. There wasn't a lot of Jeff Hardy title wins by outside interference or DQ and shit. Jeff would still go out there, wrestle as Jeff, and would win like a heel. Immortal kind of kept away from Jeff, even though Jeff was part of Immortal. So I can't put Immortal in that pack. Plus, I was still watching, even though I was hating my life.
Plus, I can't put him in the God tier because of that fucking belt design.
I was going to say, that belt is...
I can't do it. Can't fucking do it. No.
Alright, if we're going... Listen, I gotta go great.
I will go great.
Again, I got another guy that, I feel like, at least in his singles run, has had a better career in TNA than WWE. At least as a singles guy.
I agree wholeheartely.
And then poor Mr. Anderson. I am such a Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy fan for so long. Why does God hate this man? Why can't Mr. Anderson ever catch a fucking break in any wrestling company he's in?
Probably would help if he didn't say such stupid shit at times, but that's just me.
True. It's weird. Mr. Anderson's TNA run is so weird. He was so inconsistent. He would go a while where he was really good, and then either do nothing or was just there. And I don't remember him holding the TNA title for very long reigns. I think he had 2 or 3 times. So
yeah, and they were very short. I believe he won a ladder match against Jeff, which I liked. I thought that match was good.
Yeah, that match was great.
I think he lost it relatively soon after that.
Yep.
I think didn't he beat RVD for the title? I think it was RVD.
I'm
being told it was Sting from
Sting.
An anonymous.
That was. Oh,
was that when he did the gimmick where he dressed up as Sting?
That was really good. That was a great feud.
See, that kind of bumps him up for me.
I gotta go okay.
I give him okay because he
wasn't boring. He wasn't.
I can't say Mr. Anderson was ever boring.
Mr. Anderson is a better Eli Drake.
So that is our list.
Again,
the
pattern continues. We have 4 gods.
We got a Mount Rushmore of Impact World Champions on Victory
And
Road.
we got a Mount Rushmore of garbage. Even though for 2 of them it's not their fault. For one of them, why? And the other one can rot in hell.
So from the bottom to the top, Victory Road 2011, we've got Alberto El Patron, McFoley, James Storm, Pentagon Jr. For boring, you got Eli Drake, Chris Sabin, Magnus, John Morrison, or Johnny Impact, Samoa Joe, and Brian Cage. From OK, you've got Eric Young, Austin Aries, Matt Hardy, Eddie Edwards, Drew Galloway, Rob Van Dam, Tessa Blanchard, and Mr. Anderson. On the great side of things, you have AJ Styles, Sami Callihan, Bobby Roode, Ethan Carter III, Jeff Hardy, and in our Mount Rushmore of God-tier Impact Wrestling champions, Bully Ray, Kurt Angle, Sting, and Bobby Lashley. I say that's a pretty good list. That's a damn good list.
I think that is the most accurate and most right list of all time. I think this is the only list that matters from going forward. Every other list is inferior.
Absolutely.
This is the only list that matters. Our opinion is right, and you're wrong. That's how you become president.
Exactly.
How you win fights on Twitter.
Exactly.
And with that, that's how we're going to end things off here for the Four Post Massacre Podcast. Mr. Shawn Walsh, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Hopefully I get to come back sometime. This was really cool to talk some wrestling with you guys.
Real quick.
Absolutely. You will be back. Everybody will be back.
Oh, absolutely. Real quick.
I'm not letting them go.
Real quick, please tell the people where they can find you.
So you can find my show AWF on the AWF 105. That is the YouTube channel, and you can find Call All Stars. That's simply that, Call All Stars, both on YouTube, social media for Twitter. You can also find by the same handles, actually, the AWF 105, and for Call All Stars, tweet all sorts of stuff out. If you're just looking for me to, say whatever about wrestling, that's usually what I use the AWF Twitter for. Call stuff. I use a lot of the Call All Stars stuff. Check it out. A lot of cool stuff, so you don't want to miss it.
Absolutely not. Especially when we got Call All Stars. What number is it on? I'm stumping on a number.
We're approaching Call All Stars 13 this summer. It's crazy.
Absolutely insane. So everybody go and subscribe to the Call All Stars channel, subscribe to the AWF channel, and with that, that's about our time here on the Four Post Massacre Podcast. Adam, you want to say any parting words to our viewing audience?
Yes, to anybody who has any Fight TV and or IWA TV subscription, try and catch me in the crowd at VXS or JCW. If you're watching this week, a lot of really good independent wrestling action. Some AEW guys will be there, and the god of this shit, Nick Gage, will be there, so I'll be cheering him on. Also, Ricochet in pants. And Cody One Kenobi will save us all one day. Thank you and good night. Enjoy yourselves. Tip your waitresses.
I just wish one day he doesn't end the show like that. All right, everybody. We'll see. We'll see you later.